in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's C-Dot.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here with you on this wonderful Thursday. We are going to transition a bit to Chiefs and Panthers. We'll do more of that tomorrow, but we will talk a little bit specifically about the Carolina Panthers today. We are going to head to Lawrence, Kansas, coming up in about 45 minutes or so. Kansas has been one of the hottest teams in college football this month. We'll learn what has sparked their big turnaround. They actually have a very important basketball game next week against Duke. They have played Michigan State already. They have played North Carolina, and they also have Duke on the schedule. They'll go up against Cooper Flagg and the Duke Blue Devils coming up in a few days. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We also are going to continue to get you ready for a great weekend in college football with the top 5 game between Ohio State and Indiana. There is a lot of stuff to get into in today's show. Again, my name is Carrington. Rob is here. We are happy that you guys have made us part of your Thursday. I would love to start today's show talking about sports and the things that happen on the field, but Jackson County, well, they continue to be Jackson County. I'll explain after Rob gives you a chance to win a pizza.
Pizza time on The Drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Caller number 6, 913-586-7965. Caller number 6 wins a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They lovingly use 100% whole milk mozzarella, all organic tomato sauce with locally grown, fresh ingredients, all made by KC guys who both know and love pizza. They also have a killer selection of craft and local beers, plus unique wine. So whether you're hungry enough for a whole pie or just want a slice or two, be sure to visit them now at pizzatasio.com. That's pizza, Tascio.com.
I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock here on 96.5 The Fan. Number two, I need you to tell one friend. It'd be great if you tell 2 friends, but you know what? For this holiday season, if you just spent the next month telling one friend to listen to the show, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, this is how I would like to start the show. We'll talk about Thursday Night Football here coming up in a bit, and we'll talk more specifically about the Chiefs. But I want to read to you a headline and part of a story that is on kansascity.com. Jackson County may forfeit $70 million because officials can't agree on how to spend it. And underneath this headline is a picture of Manny Abarca. You guys have certainly been familiar with him over the past year or so. And Frank White, we don't got to get into that. So I see this headline circulating around social media, and I say, let me click on it. Let me read this. Let me find out what else is going on in Jackson County. Rob, you remember the last time that we talked about Jackson County, it was some people in Blue Springs, and they were fighting over a toilet. This is how the people in Jackson County get down. We wouldn't even be talking about these things. But you know how I said a couple of days ago that the Jets continue to show us why they're the Jets? If you want to look at how the Jets have missed the postseason every year since 2010, how the Jets this week blame it on the offensive coordinator, and this week blame it on the head coach, and this week blame it on the general manager, and this week blame it that the Gatorade's not cold enough. If you want to find out why the Jets are the Jets, you just have to look to the leadership. If you guys want to find out how Jackson County has completely botched the stadiums, it is not that hard. All you have to do is pick up the newspaper, and I can read to you how they have botched the Truman Sports Complex. Let's continue on. Rob, the story starts an embarrassment, a travesty. I don't even know what they're talking about. You've got me off the jump. An act of political gamesmanship that could put Jackson County at risk of having to return $70 million in COVID-19 relief back to the federal government. It then goes on and say that is how 2 Jackson County legislators describe the refusal by 5 of their colleagues to attend a public meeting to set up to decide once and for all how that money should be spent before the time to make those choices runs out at the end of the year. So you were telling me that there was a meeting scheduled so that the people in power, the people who had been voted on, put into office. When it was time to discuss the $70 million, the 5 individuals didn't show up. Well, guess who one of the individuals was? Yes, your favorite, Manny Abarca, couldn't be found when it was time to go to work. They had 5 no-shows for this meeting. Now, we don't need to get too deep into the politics of it. If you want to read the story, I would highly encourage you to go on Kansas City Star's website and read this. This is the point. I remember a couple of months ago, people were looking for so many people to blame why the vote failed. People were blaming me. People were blaming KC Tenants. People were blaming everybody. I think we are starting to learn more and more, and maybe this was not a lesson that you needed to know, why this thing truly failed. There were 4 people at the front lines on the Jackson County side whose responsibility it was to push this thing over the finish line. One of them was the owner of the Kansas City Royals. The other person was the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs. We can talk about their role in all of this. Clark Hunt, he couldn't even bother to show up to the vote. He couldn't even vote in the thing. That's one side of it. John Sherman, he also was at the forefront of this thing. Then it was Frank White, who might be the least popular person in Jackson County. And then it was Manny Abarca, who the fact that none of us really know who he is or none of us really know what he does, but he always seems to pop up in the middle of some nonsense to tell you everything. Rob, I want to read you a text that I got from a dear friend who is involved in local politics. This is what my friend sent me today. Carrington, do you see what I meant about Manny a long time ago? He's a very unserious person and probably the worst person that we could have at a time like this when we're trying to keep the Chiefs and the Royals, and this is why the city is so desperate to try to go around them. This explains everything. Jackson County doesn't have any of their ducks in a row and haven't had their ducks in a row for quite some time. It doesn't sound like they agree on anything. They don't agree on this $70 million. They don't agree on the stadium. They don't agree on your property taxes. They don't agree on anything. And you know what? Some of you might not care about this, but for the people like me that live in Kansas City, Missouri, that live in Jackson County, you know what is happening? Johnson County and Wyandotte County just continue to look like better options to the sports teams. That's what they look like. You have strong, real, serious competition from just across state line. And the mayor of Kansas City, a friend of mine, is talking about truce, and we said we weren't going to do this. This is big business. This is politics. We are talking about billions of dollars transferring from one side of the state line to the other side. And you would think, after you guys got embarrassed at the polls early in the year, you would think at some point the adults in the room would sit down and try to figure out what's the best for the people of Jackson County. I am here to report to you that they still have not learned anything from earlier this year when they got embarrassed. An embarrassment, a travesty. They can't figure out the small things. They can't figure out the big things. It's sad. I mean, I wish I could sit here and I could tell you that I know what's going to happen with the teams, but the only thing that I'm pretty certain of is if you continue to let Frank White and Manny Abarca be at the center of these conversations, it is going to end poorly for you if you live on the 816 side. They have given us no reason to trust their guidance or leadership and how this thing is going to go. And if anything, they are going to be the ones driving the moving vans as the Royals are playing on K10 and as the Chiefs are right across the street from Hollywood Casino. They should do the coin toss whenever those things happen. They should throw out the first pitch. It's embarrassing. History is obviously repeating itself. It really is. This is the same thing we were doing last January. How have you not learned anything? You weren't paying attention? So, Rob, I understand we usually don't lead with politics. This is a little abnormal from what we do, but I couldn't see this this story come across my timeline. I couldn't get a text like that and not share it with you about the incompetence of the people that run things in Jackson County. Coming up on the other side, we'll get to Thursday Night Football, and I know it might not look like much. And let me tell you, this is probably going to be an 18-16 slobber knocker later today on Amazon Prime. There's not going to be a whole lot of touchdowns. If you like Big 12 football and you want a 45-44 game, I'm telling you to find something else to do tonight, because that is not what we're going to get on Thursday Night Football. But the result of Thursday Night Football very much impacts the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll talk about it next. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Men, it's the holidays, the season of all kinds of hustle and bustle. But if your energy is down, if you aren't sleeping well, if your sex drive is MIA and you just don't feel like the guy you once were, maybe it's tough to get excited for all the holiday cheer. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if this sounds like you may have low testosterone. And if so, this is the season for you to get treated. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. If you're like most guys, you'll feel the change in just a few weeks. And truly, the results can be life-changing. You'll have improved mental clarity, your energy will kick up, your workouts will be better, your sleep patterns will improve, and your sex drive will likely heat up as well. So call us and don't go through another season with low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City, now open. Dine on mouth-watering appetizers, then feast on one of our 6 American Wagyu burgers, including the Bacon Jam Burger and Blazing Burger. Wash it down with your favorite ice-cold beverage, all while watching the game on one of our 45 TVs. Dine in or carry out. Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City always hits the spot. Brew Brothers and Brew Brothers Express are now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
Your coworkers might annoy you, but we promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you tackle your inbox or get ready for another meeting that probably could have been an email. Tune in late? You can rewind your favorite live shows to catch what you missed. And with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My check engine light's on?
That could hurt your gas mileage. The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can help find the fix for free.
Get in zone.
This whole report for free?
That's right, printed and on your phone for free.
Get in zone.
But what if the fix is too tough?
We'll recommend a local shop. FixFinder, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone. AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Hollywood Brown. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Tonight we have Thursday night football between the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are going on the road to play the Cleveland Browns. Now, for those of you that gamble on these games, let me tell you that the over-under for this thing is criminally low. Rob, did you know that the over-under for tonight's game is 36.5? This is not going to be great quarterback play, high flying, throw the ball, pitch and catch around the field. We're talking about 30 degrees, 20 degrees. We're talking about 20 to 25 mile an hour winds. It's supposed to be wet and rainy all day. This is going to be that old school football. For those of you that play the video games, you remember when you would get the game and you would just turn the weather all the way up. Maybe you want a really wet game to see what it was like, or you really turn the snow and the elements up. That's what today is going to be like in Cleveland. Now, I understand what Pittsburgh has been. They've been one of the better and more consistent teams in the league. I also understand what Cleveland is, a team that feels like they are in need of a hard reset. But we know how these AFC North games go. This is no walk in the park. This is no picnic today for the Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road in wet conditions on a short week on Thursday Night Football. They are just a 3.5-point favorite. And Rob, you have seen enough of these to know that that point, that hook is usually what gets you on Thursday Night Football. I also found a stat today. This stat was very, very surprising when it came across my desk. Did you know that Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have really struggled on Thursday Night Football? Under Mike Tomlin, the Steelers are 2-8 on Thursday Night Football, and they average just 19.7 points per game. Did you also know that the Steelers, they have lost 6 of their last 7 games on the road on Thursday Night Football? I think this is a really dangerous spot for Pittsburgh, a team that is obviously trying to keep pace with Kansas City, a team that is trying to compete for the 1 seed. You can't afford to lose ground in a week in which Kansas City plays Carolina and you got Cleveland. They already have a 1-game lead over you. Now, you do play them coming up on Christmas Day, but that's 4 weeks from now, and you've got a pretty difficult schedule along the way. We know that Buffalo is going to be in it until the final bell. We wonder if Pittsburgh is going to be there. This is one of those games that you're not necessarily in it for style points. This is a get in and win by any means necessary kind of game. You know what, Rob? Equipped with all of this information, I think the best thing to do today is to fade Pittsburgh. If this is going to be a low-scoring, dirty, muddy, rainy, sleet, if it's going to be one of those elements games, I think the home team has the advantage here. Give me Cleveland plus the 3.5, or if you're really feeling frisky today, give me Cleveland a win straight up, and I'll take Cleveland on the money line later tonight.
I don't disagree with your betting perspective. I think taking points in a game like this is a smart play. But let's talk about the actual football on the field. The say it out loud test is something this show does a lot. A Mike Tomlin defensive-led team is going to lose a slugfest, ugly, gross football game? Isn't this the kind of game where Pittsburgh thrives? 18-16, 15-13, 12-14, just ugly. not aesthetically pleasing, and I imagine Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit are going to be having jokes galore tonight on Amazon Prime, and everyone's going to be on social media talking about how this game is very, very ugly. But those ugly defense first, it's a bring a bucket of guts type of game. That's where Mike Tomlin teams thrive. That's the kind of game as a Chiefs fan you don't want to see in the playoffs if you have to face Pittsburgh, because that's their sweet spot, baby. That's their home run swing. That's, they hit that one out of the park all the time. So from a betting perspective, I understand taking Cleveland with the points because it does not feel like this is a 24-17 type of game. It definitely feels more 15-13 type of energy, but 15-13, that is Pittsburgh's, MO, their bread and butter. They've won multiple games this season without scoring a touchdown. They know how to win that type of ball game.
I don't disagree with you in practice about the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's a game that we've seen them win basically our entire life. But you agree, if you are going into it knowing how the game's going to be in that way, that is what opens you up to an upset. That is what opens you up to going on the road and losing to Cleveland. This is a weird stretch for them. So you play this game on Thursday Night Football in your division, and then you turn around and you play the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that can score and a team that is fighting for their playoff life. So you got back-to-back games on the road in your division. Now, you get Cincinnati with extra time to prepare coming off Thursday Night Football, so you get that mini bye. But this is a really, really good spot for them. And I don't want to use the word trap game for Pittsburgh because it's a team in your division, but you go on the road and you beat Washington. You have Baltimore at home. You beat them in one of those games you're just talking about in which we've seen Pittsburgh win. Now you go on the road against Cleveland and you go on the road against Cincinnati. That's an odd stretch of games there where you play the other three teams in your division. Is Pittsburgh a team that you feel confident enough to pick them to win all three of those games? If you do, maybe our perception around them needs to change. Now, I don't want to overinflate what I think Cleveland is, but we watch enough NFL to know there's a lot of teams that would go into Cleveland and lose today. You go on the road, Thursday Night Football, the holidays coming up, and you just go out there and lay an egg, and you look at your schedule, and you look at the clock, and you now lost to the Cleveland Browns. Is Pittsburgh disciplined enough to figure out a way to go on the road and scratch out a game today against Cleveland? This is one of the more compelling Thursday Night Football games. It's not a marquee matchup by any ways. It's not what we had last week with the Commanders and the Eagles, but this is a pretty good spot, and I think this is going to be an interesting chess match later today.
I agree with all that. While I do not think the Steelers are a threat to the Chiefs for the 1 seed, the stretch you just laid out it feels like where Mike Tomlin makes his money every year. Now, usually they're not the favorite in those games. Usually there's a stretch in the season where you go, how are the Steelers 3-1 in this stretch? And then they end up in the postseason. Last year they did it with Kenny Pickett. They did it with the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger. There is a portion of almost every season where you go, man, Pittsburgh's humming through this. How are they doing it? And that just feels like this stretch. You got the ugly win against the Ravens on Sunday. And let's be honest, it was ugly. 18-16 or 16-14, whatever it ended up being. You didn't score a touchdown in the game, and yet you found a way to win. That's Pittsburgh's their football. Now you go on the road. Another type of that game is necessary before a long week, and you can use the long week to get ready for one of the worst defenses in the NFL and the Bengals. It feels like on December 2nd or whatever that Monday is, we're going to be on the show being like, goodness gracious, Pittsburgh is now 11-2. How did we get here? Because this is just what Mike Tomlin does. He doesn't seem to lose those games where you think, oh, it could go either way. He just finds a way, and it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is.
I want to play a couple of cuts from you guys as Steve Spagnuolo met with the media earlier today. So they have the coach and the quarterback speak on Wednesday, the coordinator speak on Friday, and then Andy kind of caps everything off at the end of the week. But that press conference, it's almost like he's in a race to see how fast that Friday press conference gets done. Andy is up there for 2 minutes on Friday talking. So Spags spoke earlier today, and honestly, the only reason I'm playing this is because it is almost like Spags listened to the open of the show on Monday and said, I agree, and said almost everything I said on Monday after the Chiefs lost their first regular season game. I understand that blame is on both sides. Special teams, offensively, defensively, the Chiefs did not play a complete game, and Buffalo was better than Kansas City on all three phases of the game. They played a cleaner game. They deserved to win. Hats off to the Buffalo Bills. But if I had to assess blame for how the Chiefs lost their first game, I'm putting it on the defense. They gave up 30 points for the first time in 2 years. There was a drive in which they had to get off the field and couldn't give up a touchdown, and they didn't get off the field. Sometimes sports is very as simple as a pass or fail. The defense, you even could have allowed points. You even got graded on a curve there, but you could not let them score a touchdown. They scored a touchdown. You get a failing grade. I don't know what else to say, especially after the offense went down the field and put together, in my opinion, their best drive of the season. Spags, listening to the show, the very smart football mind that he is, recognizes that I also am a great football mind and said, listen to this, the Chiefs were bad on third downs on Sunday.
The other thing, the one thing that is concerning to me is that we need to win more third downs. Last week, in prior games, there has been games where the number of third downs has been low, and they've been in the 3 to 4 to 5 range. We were able to get them in 11 third and 6 pluses. You got to win more of those, and we didn't. I got to look at what I'm calling. We got to look at what we're doing, and there were some of those mistakes that we're talking about were on those particular plays.
We can talk a lot about the Josh Allen play at the end of the game. It was a 4th and 2, and a great player just made a great play. You want to know where this game was lost? It was 3rd and 9 from the Chiefs' 44-yard line. It was less than 5 minutes in the game. You got to get off the field. On first down, Josh Allen threw an incompletion. On second down, the Chiefs' run defense stopped up and held James Cook to 1 yard. It's 3rd and 9. You got to get off the field here. You force a punt. You force an incompletion. You get off the field there. Kansas City's offense gets the ball back with 4 minutes left on the clock, down a couple of points, and you got an opportunity to go down the field and rip Buffalo's heart out again. Josh Allen completed a pass over the middle of the field to Khalil Shakir for 10 yards. You guys remember, that's when Brian Cook hit him in the back, and Buffalo scored a touchdown 5 plays later. That's where the game is won and lost. Football is really, really simple. Control the line of scrimmage. Be better than your opponent on third down. Win the turnover differential. When you do the little things, you win football games, and the Chiefs just didn't do enough of the little things correctly against Buffalo, and that's how they ended up losing. The Chiefs defensively, in my mind, just didn't live up to the standard that they've created the last year and a half. This defense has operated like the best defense in the league. They were not the best defense in the league on Sunday. That's how the Chiefs lost. I want to play one more cut for you guys because, again, I want to acknowledge another great football mind. Spags listens to the show. I know he does. This is what I said a couple of days ago.
I was more concerned with some of the things some of the errors that we made as a unit that were uncharacteristic. I showed 11 of them on Tuesday, very uncharacteristic of our group. Had we cut them in half, I think we find a way to give Patrick a chance to win the game. Let's just say that.
That's it. Clean some of it up. They've shown more of those mistakes the past 3 weeks, whether it was against Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield going down the field and scoring to give them a chance to take the lead late, but they declined. Whether it was Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos that offensively played fine. Or it was Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills that for the first time since the Super Bowl against the Eagles, a team scored 30 points against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs did make some uncharacteristic mistakes. The Chiefs are a team that's better at getting pressure than they showed a couple of days ago. These are mistakes that you certainly expect a defensive coordinator like Steve Spagnuolo to clean up as we get closer to the postseason, as this team gets healthy, as they get back some of their dogs. You would expect an improved effort from the defense. Charles Omenihu, who was practicing, we expect him to come back and play for this team. I think they're going to shore up some of their secondary and cornerback issues as guys get more experience, guys get more opportunity to play. So I'm not sounding the alarm for the Chiefs defense, but The Chiefs defense, in my opinion, let them down on Sunday, and that is how the Chiefs lost their first game. Rob, let me ask you this question, unrelated to the defense, unrelated to Sunday's game against the Buffalo Bills, looking forward just a little bit. So it's been a little bit of time since we have seen a new city pop up in the National Football League. When you and I were kids, Carolina and Jacksonville both got a team in the mid-90s. We then saw Houston get another team back. They had the Oilers moved, and then they gave them the Houston Texans. And it's been a while since a new NFL city has popped up. I was thinking about this because of Carolina and the Chiefs going to Carolina. If you had to suggest what the next city for expansion would be in the National Football League, where do you think it would be? Because I actually think that we have run out of American cities to give NFL teams to. There's certainly other great cities that are out there, but I don't know if Portland is an NFL market. I don't think San Antonio is ever going to get a National League football. I just don't know if that's where pro football is going to live. Have we reached the point that we have maybe capped out where there are no more cities that don't have football teams? Once the NFL went to Las Vegas the way that they did, and they went to Los Angeles, is there a new city that we expect to pop up that's going to get a new NFL team in the next 5 to 10 years? Because I'm really struggling to see who that city is.
I think there's one American city, San Antonio. I remember the story, and I think it was just, everyone, the people in San Antonio doing their job. But remember when the Chiefs' vote for the new stadium failed, and the city of San Antonio promptly announced they'd be more than willing to take on an NFL franchise if it came to that, blah, blah, blah. It was political posturing at the time. I don't think the Chiefs were leaving Kansas City. But I think there is a market for football in San Antonio. The problem with San Antonio will be, is Jerry Jones going to allow it?
In which the answer is clearly no.
The answer, he would never allow it. And he has enough pull in the ownership group, the ownership meetings, the power brokers in the NFL to make sure it never happens. But Jerry's not going to live forever. And Jerry's getting older and older by the year, as we all are. And I wonder as if the NFL and San Antonio's flirtation will restart after Jerry Jones potentially passes away, because it seems like that is the obvious solution stateside. Now, the other place, I think international is coming. I don't know if that's Mexico City, where they have played lots of games. I don't know if that's Toronto, where they've played games. I don't know if that means they're going to across the pond to somewhere in Europe where they play more and more games every season. But the NFL feels like they're not doing this international thing just for the vibes. There has to be a means to an end. And I think right now that's expanding the brand and money and the whole nine. But eventually, once the brand's expanded, you can't expand anymore without adding a franchise. So I think international franchises, which we see, by the way, in both the NBA and Major League Baseball international franchises, I think international franchises could be coming to the NFL. But outside of San Antonio, stateside seems like it's kind of done.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I'm just thinking a little bit more about San Antonio since you suggested it. I mean, the NFL's been around for 100 years, and they've never been in San Antonio. And it's not like we don't see a lot of movement that happens. We've seen a lot of teams move. We've seen a lot of teams come and go. And San Antonio has never gotten any of those opportunities. There's been cities that have gotten 2 and 3 chances before San Antonio has gotten 1 chance as an NFL city. So I'm not going to say 100% the NFL will never go there. But just given the over 100-year history of the National Football League, I just find it kind of hard to believe. I'm also seeing some of the suggestions right now on the text line, 913-586-7965. I just don't think that the NFL is interested in now going to some of these smaller cities. We agree, if the league started over, they're not giving Green Bay, Wisconsin a team. They are not giving some of these smaller markets a team. So I just don't know why you were going to now buy into the billion-dollar entity that is the National Football League, and you're putting a team in Salt Lake City. You're putting a team in some of these smaller cities. If anything, the NFL has just gotten bigger, and the cities that they have attacked recently, we're talking big cities. They moved back to Los Angeles, a major media market. They moved to Las Vegas, the entertainment hub of the West. Like, all they do is big cities. So maybe Toronto, sure. We're talking about a major North American city. Maybe Mexico City, if we're talking about that. maybe a couple of cities over pond. Maybe London gets a team. I think it's probably more feasible that what we'll see eventually is when the league expands to 18 games, which we all know that they are planning on expanding to 18 games, but it's going to continue to give London more and more games, that they'll never get their official team, but we're going to create a season ticket package where we're going to give you 8 or 9 home games. That's not much different than your season ticket package as a Chiefs fan. You get access to concerts. Certainly concerts go to Wembley Stadium and play there. And we're also going to give you the opportunity to buy a handful of regular season NFL games. So that's what I've always thought the plan was going to be. And it seems to me that the NFL, they're not just focused on London the way that they've been. They now want to play games in Brazil. They now want to play games in China. They now want to play a game in Australia. I think what we'll see is the NFL is certainly interested in adding more inventory, and we're going to add another slate of games. We're just going to continue to outsource those. And as long as we continue to give the American fan their 8 home games that they've had their entire life, they're fine with us moving these games around and creating other windows.
That's probably the path for Europe. But it would not stun me if a Mexico or Canada team popped up. Like, the NFL, in a weird way, is an outlier compared to other major American sports. Carrington, I won't use the NHL as an example because that's a little unfair because they have so many Canadian teams. But look at Major League Baseball. They have a team in Canada. Look at the NBA. They have a team in Canada. Like, I think eventually Toronto is too big of a market. Mexico City is too big of a market. And the travel is feasible based on where teams are in the United States. I think you're probably right for expansion to Europe. I think you'll keep seeing games pop up. I think there's rumors that Ireland might be getting one. You know, we talked about Australia. It might be, hey, instead opposed to 5 or 6 international games, we're now playing 8 or 9 international games. And it's one in Berlin, one in Munich, one in London, one in Manchester, one in, Barcelona, just spread across Europe. That wouldn't surprise me, but I think the NFL is going to eventually follow what the other major leagues do in America, and they're going to add a team in either Canada and or Mexico. Those population hubs are just too big. And with Toronto, we know there's an appetite for football. Remember, the Bills used to go up there all the time and play games. They sold them out. I know Canadian football is different than American football, but it's not like it's not a popular entity up there. I think Toronto and or Mexico City are very in play.
I want to play one piece of audio for you guys before we head to Lawrence to take a closer look at their game coming up this weekend against Colorado. This audio was from just 2 days ago. Michael Irvin went on Colin Cowherd's show, and he believes that Deion would take the Cowboys job.
That if Shadeur went to the Cowboys, Deion would accept the job.
I believe 100%, and I can tell you, good sources have told me that. Great sources have told me that. That's all I can say like that without violating anything else.
I don't think Deion's taking that job. Maybe you guys missed it today, but the number 1 quarterback prospect was originally committed to going to USC. He decommitted from USC. Everybody kind of knew where he was going to go. He made an announcement earlier today on the Pat McAfee show. You want to talk about making it as a high school player, you make the announcement of where you're going to go play college football on the Pat McAfee show. And he announced today that he's going to Colorado. I think that Deion, we are going to see, is going to be very motivated by the fact that so many people think that he can't do it without his son and Travis on the team. And I think that is going to fuel him. And I think we've seen, man, if you can convince Travis Hunter to go play football at Jackson State the way that he did, and also get that player to follow you to Colorado, Travis Hunter would have went to any school that Deion Sanders was going to be at. It does not matter where it was. That kid went to Boulder, Colorado, and he could quite literally be playing college football for any program that he wanted to, and he has made the decision to follow Deion Sanders. You can't say that that was the wrong decision. I think Travis working out the way that it has is going to be a big recruiting win for Deion Sanders. I think there's a chance he can keep this thing rolling. You're in a conference that gives you a chance to make the college football playoff, and you also are going to get top talent to come to Boulder, Colorado. I think we could see Deion keep this thing rolling, even though he's going to lose maybe the number 1 and number 2 overall pick. Coming up on the other side, let's head to Lawrence, Kansas. They're actually going to play Colorado this weekend. How have they turned things around? We'll find out. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, you already know that there's nothing like a custom design and crafted jewelry treasure from House of Diamonds. A one-of-a-kind creation built from scratch for a one-of-a-kind love. But sometimes you have a need for speed. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, and just in case custom jewelry isn't in the cards, we have a case. Actually, we have 19 cases filled with some of the most beautiful handcrafted jewelry you'll ever see. Earrings, rings, bracelets, pearls, pendants, and fine gemstones. A lot of it we created in our shop. All of it carries our name with the quality and craftsmanship you've come to expect from House of Diamonds. And any item can be tweaked and customized just for you. Think of it as Custom Express. Custom Express or custom from scratch. Get it at locally owned, family owned House of Diamonds. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Holding out for epic Twin Peaks gear to go on sale? Score 20% off online merch with promo code BF2024 through November 29th. Visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/shop to add the perfect swag to your cart and save big.
The election is finally over. Now you can get the cash you need. Imagine what you could do with $50,000. Pay off credit cards, do home improvements, or even pay off auto loans. Golden Oak's mortgage rate is 5.25%. There's no out-of-pocket costs, so call today and make no payments until next year. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can back up what they did a season ago. And even the MVP market, where Luka's the favorite at plus 330. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will automatically be charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering an online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Shop Dell Technologies Black Friday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
This afternoon, expect sunny conditions with a high of 44.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
5 minutes breaking down the state of college football. It's time for Take 5 with The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
Let's head to Lawrence, Kansas right now to be joined by Michael Swain. He covers the Jayhawks for 24/7 Sports. Michael, I will admit I did not think there was any chance that you would be on again during football season because I didn't think there would be any reason to talk about the Jayhawks. But you know what? In back-to-back weeks when you beat Iowa State and BYU, that gets you another appearance on this show.
Well. Are you going to admit you're a hater? No, I'm joking. I didn't think this was going to happen either.
No, I mean, I can admit I'm a hater. I've bet against Kansas the last 2 weeks, and they've cost me money. You know what? At this point, I got to keep that streak going. I've already bet Colorado. I got to.
Hey, I don't blame you. Look, it's been a crazy stretch here where a lot of the BYU game is a great example. You know, BYU is the number one team in luck, and Kansas was like 134 nationally. And what happens? A punt falls off a BYU player, lands on another BYU player, and then goes to a Kansas player. Like, it just encapsulates what the opposite of what the first half of the season was like for KU and what the last 2 weeks have been like. You know, obviously KU outplayed Iowa State at Arrowhead, but that BYU game, KU need a little element of luck to win it. And I think sometimes that's what you need in college football. And KU's in this spot right now with the record and everything because they didn't have a whole lot of luck early in the season.
I was just going to ask you that. What do you think has been the biggest change? Because, I mean, the KU that has played the last month, basically, since the game against Houston, that's the team that we thought we were going to see at the very, very beginning of the season. That's the team that had a chance to win the Big 12 and potentially make the college football playoff. If they had played like how they've played the last 3 weeks early on in the season, we wouldn't be having these conversations about them.
Yeah, it's the world's longest preseason, isn't it? No, I'm joking. I think you really can look at this season in phases, right? The first kind of 3-4 games of the season was the offense phase, right? The offense was the issue. KU's defense was doing just enough to win games, and Jaylen Daniels was turning the ball over more than he had in his entire career. And then you kind of get into that next phase of games where it's, you know, TCU, Arizona State, and KU's defense is really struggling and can't close games, can't close halves. And what you've seen since that first bye week, like you mentioned, where you see Houston, K-State, now games against Iowa State, BYU, is that the offense is doing what it's been doing for the last couple months, and it's just doing it at a higher level. Jaylen has knocked off the rust. He's looking like the player I think a lot of people thought he was going to be. And the defense is finally coming up with some of those high-leverage plays. You've got cornerbacks like, you know, Kobe Bryant and Melo Dotson, who are big-time, big-play players, right? They go out and get pick sixes. They make big interceptions or pass breakups on key downs. You've got a defensive line that is playing much better against the pass right now and getting pressure. And so this defense now is starting to make some of those key plays where over the first few weeks of the season, you know, Brian Borland, the defensive coordinator, was talking about. They were crying out for some sort of takeaway or big momentum swinging play, and they really didn't get it. And so what you're seeing now is that kind of complete team that, like you said, I think a lot of people, myself included, expected going into the year. And now for KU, it's all about, can you get that 2 more times this year, get yourself to a bowl game, get those extra practices, and start building towards, you know, kind of this next era of KU football now that this huge senior class is kind of almost on the way out.
How are you feeling heading into Saturday's game? Because I would say the two teams that they beat, and I'm not saying this to put down the wins by any means, BYU was kind of on borrowed time. They probably should have lost to Oklahoma State earlier this year. Iowa State, I think we now can go back and say, was maybe a little bit overvalued. Colorado has been playing as well as anybody the last 2 months or so since the loss to Nebraska. What is your feeling about KU? This is probably the best team that they've played all season.
Arizona State's probably up there. I think it's the best offense KU will have played all season.
That's
and
fair.
Look, here's the thing we can do too, right? This is what I love about the Big 12 is it's kind of just bad, top to bottom. And you can look at, you mentioned the last month, right? You know, they played Arizona, they played Utah, 2 teams without a pulse, you know. So, you know, you can look at anybody's schedule right now, and the Big 12 is just kind of mid. And as a result, you get some of these runs where I don't think Arizona State's a world beater. I don't think Colorado's a world beater. I don't think like, there is no dominant team right now. And so I think for KU this week, like, what makes this game such a challenge is that the top-end players for Colorado are the best players in the conference. There's no doubt about that, right? Travis Hunter is probably the best player in college football. Colorado has the best wide receiver room in the conference, in maybe college football too, if you want to maybe take out a couple of SEC teams or maybe in Ohio State. And so for KU, like, this is going to be a huge challenge, especially for KU's secondary. Something that has kind of plagued KU over the course of the season is the fact that they've allowed big passing plays, like explosive passes. That's been a big weakness. I think they rank in like the 5th percentile, something like that nationally in it. And what does this Colorado team do, man? They push you down the field. They try and stretch you as a defense. And that's going to be a huge, huge issue for KU. And I think this is the type of game that you think about it, right? I have a hard time seeing KU's defense holding Colorado at anything less than 30 points. Just based on what I've seen this season and the talent they have and the way they can really put pressure on KU's defensive backs, because they've got, 5 wide receivers who have really, really good production this year, and that's going to be hard to cover. So that's going to be an issue. I think on the other end, Jalen's got to take care of the football. If he can and not throw it to Travis Hunter or, any one of Colorado's talented corners, I think KU should be able to run the ball. I think Colorado's run defense has been better. You look at the numbers, it's been solid. But it's hard to look at the schedule this year for Colorado and say, who have they really shut down? Because K-State ran the ball well against them. UCF ran the ball well against them. And those are the 2 running offenses that I think are probably equivalent to Kansas. So it's going to make for a really exciting game. I'm really looking forward to it. Probably the game I've probably been most excited to cover all season, just because I think Colorado's got some really sweet players. And I think KU's got the ability to do some things that can hurt Colorado too. And so I think it's going to make for a great college football game for the neutral, and one that probably is going to go down to the wire again.
Right now, we're talking to Michael Swain for a few more minutes here, talking a little Kansas football as they get ready for this weekend's game against Colorado. Can you clear something up for me, Michael? What's the status on Jaylen? Can he come back next year? He only played in 3 games last season, so technically he could redshirt. Then you have a COVID year. All of the eligibility is all mixed up. Can Jaylen come back? Is this his last home game?
No, he can come back. He can come back next year. That has been a hotly discussed topic in the world of Kansas football. Will he come back or won't
he going to come back? You think?
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Here's the issue. In this day and age, it's really hard to say anything definitive with college football, because I could come on here and say, yes, I think Jaylen Daniels is going to come back. If you made me pick right now, I'd say, yeah, I think he probably will be back. But there are a lot of different circumstances in the world of college football right now that can sway someone's decision. And for Jaylen, he is a part of this senior class. Yes, I know he's not technically a senior, right? He's 1 more year, but like, you look at this class, your Luke Grimms, your Quentin Skinners, your Devin Neals, right? These have been his buddies for years, and they've grown up together in the program. And so there's a question there of, all your friends leave. Do you want to go try and do a Will Howard and go get a bag and go play at a top-tier college football program potentially that's going to be looking for a 1-year quarterback to maybe be a stopgap until a young player comes through? That those are big questions. So again, right now, if you made me pick, I think I would say Jaylen is back at Kansas next year. But again, until you see the graphic or that video from the player saying he's back and the portal is closed, you really can't say anything is ever 100% certain.
I'll get you out of here with this question. Let's say that you and I go to a KU basketball game together and we allow every fan to vote if they want Jaylen back next year. Do you think it passes? Do you think fans want him back next year? Because it's been a very up and down, I would say, tumultuous relationship at time. And for a guy who's been on campus for 5 years, I could certainly understand KU fans be wanting to move on and try something different at the position.
Yeah, I think most fans would. And I think if we were to go do that poll in September, very, very different answer. But I think I wouldn't even say recency bias. I think recency confirmation is probably the best way to put it, right? The last month, 6 weeks have proved that the quarterback that you saw in 2022 and last year is the quarterback that Jaylen Daniels is. He had a lot of rust. And so I think right now, if we were to go do a poll, I think you're probably looking at 65-35%, I'd say, that want Jaylen back, because I think a lot of people are excited for the future of the quarterback position at Kansas. But, man, they're young, and that is something that is hard to do in college football, win with young, inexperienced quarterbacks. So I think a lot of fans will be very, very happy if Jalen City's coming back next year.
Michael, I'm going to go ahead and put the request in right now. Why don't you come on the show on Tuesday, and we can talk exclusively about the basketball team?
Awesome. That sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
That is my guy, Michael Swain, joining us on the show today. Great stuff, Michael. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Sounds great. Talk next week.
Absolutely. That is Michael Swain joining us on the show. On Tuesday, Kansas plays Duke in basketball. Certainly looking forward to that. Two of the better players in college basketball, Hunter Dickinson and Cooper Flagg, who plays at Duke. Maybe you've already seen him play. Maybe you haven't. He is going to be either the number 1 or number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft. I do want to respond to what Michael Swain had to say. Really interesting stuff about Jaylen Daniels. I wasn't 100% sure what his eligibility was, but he does have the ability to come back. Rob, you're a KU fan. You're a KU season ticket holder. You guys play week 0 next year in a brand new, completely renovated stadium. Do you want Jaylen Daniels as a starting quarterback? We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings, North Avenue and 71 Highway in Belton, Friday, November 22nd. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement. But when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
Not too long ago, I had to drop about $800 to $1,000 on new brakes for my car. I've talked about my vehicle. It has quite a few miles on it at this point, and I know I'm spending a lot of money on maintenance. That's the reality of a used vehicle. It's the reality of not having a newer vehicle under 40,000 miles. That's why you got to think about the total cost of ownership, whether it's the maintenance, whether it's the insurance, whether it's any other factor that goes into owning a vehicle, gasoline, all of it matters, and that's where Max Motors comes in. One, they're going to walk you through exactly what that total cost of ownership is going to be, not just flash the straight-out monthly payment and what that is like some other dealers do out there. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. For example, a new 2024 Ram 1500's up to $18,000 off MSRP. Stock number 90052. And Max Motors is just down the street. In fact, 7 minutes from the Grandview Triangle at 192 miles an hour. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
Fellas, the holidays are a time for love and for joy, but if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction, then the holiday season can be tough on you and your relationship. I'm guessing the first time this happened, maybe you laughed it off, but it continues to happen, and now it's become a real problem. Stop settling for good enough. You deserve more than that. Your relationship deserves more than that, and Heartland Men's Health is here to help. Their treatments work when pills and herbs have failed. With a success rate over 90%. For just $99, you can get a full medical consult, lab work, and a test dose of treatment. And if that doesn't work in the office, then the visit is free. Don't let this ruin your holidays. Heartland's Men's Health has 3 area Kansas City locations in Kansas City, Overland Park, and Independence. Pick up the phone and make a change in your relationship. 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today.
Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City, now open. Dine on mouth-watering appetizers, then feast on one of our 6 American Wagyu burgers, including the Bacon Jam Burger and Blazing Burger. Wash it down with your favorite ice-cold beverage, all while watching the game on one of our 45 TVs. Dine in or carry out. Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City always hits the spot. Brew Brothers and Brew Brothers Express are now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find bourbons and Cabernets that you adore.
With curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My check engine light's on?
That could hurt your gas mileage. The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can help find the fix for free.
Get in zone.
This whole report for free?
That's right, printed and on your phone for free.
Get in zone.
But what if the fix is too tough?
We'll recommend a local shop. Fix Finder, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Introducing TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league on ESPN and ESPN Plus. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. To learn more, visit tglgolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up. It's golf.
Brought to you by the Kansas City Symphony.
Experience magical holiday moments set to music with the Kansas City Symphony. From Handel's Messiah to Frozen in Concert, see the full lineup and get your tickets at kcsymphony.org. There's no wrong way to symphony.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Panthers game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan. My name is Carrington Harrison. I appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. I think it took a while for Missouri fans to get to this point, but I think if you polled 1,000 Missouri fans and said, if Brady Cook could come back next year, would you want Brady Cook to come back? I think it is overwhelmingly yes. Missouri fans, I don't know if that would have been the case the entire season, but after we saw the backup quarterbacks that they trotted out there, yes, I would very happily take Brady Cook to be back. We don't have to ask that question for K-State fans. If Avery Johnson was saying, I'm thinking about transferring, and you ask K-State fans, you guys have the ability to either vote yes or no on your quarterback. It might be unanimous. Yes, we want Avery Johnson to come back. I'm not sure what KU fans would say. So Jaylen Daniels can come back next year. Now, he also can hit the transfer portal. And if he hits the transfer portal, he is certainly going to have options. He's going to be a veteran quarterback who played better the second half of the season, who showed he could stay healthy his last year in college. Jaylen Daniels would have suitors on the transfer market if he doesn't want to play football at KU next year. I asked Michael Swain, what do you think KU fans would vote if I went to the next KU game and we just had a poll? Hey, everybody, show of hands. Do you want Jaylen to come back next year? What would fans say? Here's what Michael Swain had to say of 24/7 Sports.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. You know, here's the issue. In this day and age, it's really hard to say anything definitive with college football because I could come on here and say, yes, I think Jaylen Daniels is going to come back. If you made me pick right now, I'd say, yeah, I think he probably will be back. But there are a lot of different circumstances in the world of college football right now that can sway someone's decision. And for Jaylen, he is a part of this senior class. Yes, I know he's not technically a senior, right? He's one more year, but like you look at this class, you know, your Luke Grimms, your Quentin Skinners, your Devin Neals, right? These have been his buddies for years, and they've grown up together in the program. And so there's a question there of all your friends leave. Do you want to go try and do a Will Howard and go get a bag and go play at a top-tier college football program potentially that's going to be looking for a one-year quarterback to maybe be a stopgap until a young player comes through? That, you know, those are big questions. So again, right now, if you made me pick, I think I would say Jaylen is back at Kansas next year. But again, until you see the graphic or that video from the player saying he's back and the portal is closed, you know, you really can't say anything is ever 100% certain.
So, Rob, I'll ask you this question because I do think that the answer to this is predicated on when it was in the season, very similar to Brady Cook. There was a time that you would ask Missouri fans this, and they would have been 100% happy. They were asking for Drew Pine to start at quarterback. Then we saw Drew Pine start at quarterback and realized, oh, boy, maybe we've been a little hard on Brady Cook. Maybe Brady Cook is a lot better than we thought. There certainly was a time that KU fans, you guys were ready to get rid of Jaylen Daniels early on in the season. He is probably the biggest reason why you guys will miss a bowl game. He was not good for the first half of the season, but He's turned things around. He looks like a healthier player. And again, he is going to be an experienced starting quarterback in college football. That is a valuable thing to have next year. Do you want Jaylen back at KU next year?
That's a great question. Like, it's a fantastic thought. And I don't want to have a cop-out answer, but I'm going to anyway. I think it really depends on the last 2 games of the season. If Kansas does keep playing spoiler and breaks up Colorado's magic season on Saturday at Arrowhead, and then the ensuing week can go on the road and beat Baylor, a sentence that would have been laughable as of 7, 8, 9, 10 days ago. Like, we would have joked, oh, there's no chance they win against a ranked Colorado team and on the road at a Baylor team. Like, ha, ha, ha. But now it feels like a thing that could feasibly happen. I think if KU can do the ultimate turnaround and end this season as a bowl team, then I think I don't want him back, because I want him to walk out with what Michael Swain said, all his buddies. He and Devin Neal and Jeremy Robinson, the Luke Grimm, the whole lot of them that were responsible for making KU a laughingstock to a solid football program again should fade off into the sunset, and it should be young quarterback time, and let's look toward the future. But if they lose on Saturday, or they lose in Waco next week, or they lose both and they finish 4-8, 5-7.
It would be very disappointing to lose both of these games.
I agree.
You should at least beat Baylor.
You should go 1-1 in those games, some form or fashion. If you go 1-1 in those games and you miss a bowl game by 1 year, I think I would want him back, because you feel like, hey, you have a guy who can still lead the program, and a bowl game was that close. You have the new stadium. You'd have some hype. You'd have some buzz at quarterback. I think how their season turns out will affect my mindset about what happens to Jaylen, because if they go to a bowl game in 2024, I could easily see KU fans doing what K-State fans did last year. Hey, we love you, Will Howard. You were great for the program, but we have a young guy behind you we want to see play, so thank you, but goodbye. That could happen in Lawrence, but if he fails to make a bowl game, I think it changes the future and gets a little more murky.
Text line 913-586-7965. I'd be curious to hear from KU fans. Jaylen Daniels has 1 more year left of eligibility. Is he a player that you want to come back next season? He certainly has had a very imbalanced season. I mean, he has not been the player that he was pre-injury. I mean, you go back to 2022, I mean, in fewer starts with fewer passes, he had more touchdown passes, less interceptions. He was a better runner the last time that we saw him as a full-time starter. He is not the same player that he was. But the second half of the season, he has been very, very capable. I'd be very curious to hear from KU fans about what you would like for him, if you'd like for him to come back next year as the quarterback of Kansas. We got Thursday night football coming up later today. I heard a stat today that kind of blew my mind about Jameis Winston. Listen to this.
We are going to witness history tonight. I mean, Al may not wear a tie. It's going to be too cold, but the history is going to be, this will be the first game, Pat, that Jameis Winston has played in temperatures below 40 degrees in his NFL career.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
No.
How about that?
I did not know that. Obviously, he's down in Tampa. He's down in New Orleans, comes up to Cleveland this year. You would think one of those teams would have had a game, though, against some North opponent late in the season. They have not. How would Jameis handle it, I wonder?
Yeah, because even going back to college, you wonder how many he played with at Florida State.
None. Probably none.
Yeah.
The reason we measure hands at the combine on quarterbacks is because of nights like tonight. You know, when you have small hands, it maybe becomes difficult to handle a slippery football. And Jameis had really small hands coming out of college. So this will be a challenge for him against a very good Pittsburgh front. And his ability to handle a wet football in the conditions that we're going to face tonight. It'll be great football. It'll be fun to watch.
I think that today and Thursday night football is such an intriguing game. I really do. You have Pittsburgh, who I think is a Super Bowl contending team. You're playing a team in the Cleveland Browns, a divisional opponent, a team that obviously knows you very well. It's a road Thursday night football game. Under Mike Tomlin, oddly enough, the Steelers have not been very good on Thursday night football. They are 2-8 on the road under Mike Tomlin and have scored less than 21 points, and they have lost 6 of their last 7 road games on Thursday Night Football. The weather's not going to be good. The conditions are not going to be good today. This is a really intriguing Thursday Night Football game. I know that we're not looking at two great teams, and I don't think that it's going to be an incredibly high-scoring or memorable game, but I do think it's going to be great theater. I do think it's going to be great television. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. Rob, I think the Browns are pulling off the upset today. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I probably would take the over just because, 35.5 points is just such a ridiculously low number for an NFL game. I think that Cleveland does just enough today, and I think they're pulling off the upset. I think Cleveland wins later tonight.
Me and you just do this game different. I think from a betting perspective, me and you are kind of on the same page. I would take the Browns. I would maybe tease it up and get a few more points, and then I would probably take the over as well because it's so ridiculously low. But, man, oh, man, rock fight, slobber knocker, win ugly type of game. If there were a team in the NFL that encapsulates that energy, it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've won multiple games this year without scoring a touchdown. Let that sink in. They went on the road and beat the Falcons, who might be a playoff team, with no touchdowns. Just last week, they beat the Ravens, a really good team, a team that has a great quarterback with no touchdowns. We've seen them in the playoffs, win playoff games with no touchdowns. They are the embodiment of win ugly, doesn't matter, style points are useless, just win, baby, win. And on a wet, slippery, gross field, when you probably have the better quarterback and you have the better defense and you have the better coach and all you got to do is grind one out, that feels like the Steelers' recipe to win. So I like the Steelers tonight because it just feels like a Steeler type of game.
Yeah, you're certainly right. If you're going to take the team with the better coach, the better quarterback, the team that's a little bit more complete, I think you would take Pittsburgh. I'm just a big believer, and you got to follow the trends. And if you're 2-8 on Thursday Night Football games, there is something that you do as an organization. And maybe it's that tough physical style that we know from Pittsburgh. On the quick turnaround with less rest, man, it's really difficult to kind of bounce back and get yourself up for 2 consecutive games. So I think it's going to be a really difficult spot. I think that Pittsburgh is in a dangerous position here. I think they could potentially lose tonight on Thursday Night Football. Coming up, we'll continue to talk NFL here. We'll go through some storylines on Sunday. Have you guys looked at the schedule on Sunday? Because this might be the worst slate of games that we have the entire season. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Let me tell you guys about one of my guilty pleasures during the football season. It's eating some chips, having some wings, a little veggies, and having your favorite dips while you're watching football. And I got a new dip to tell you guys about. Daisy Sour Cream has come out with the French onion and ranch dip. It's a game changer. These are as good as any homemade dip that you could try. Real herbs, real spices, and ingredients that you'd only find in your kitchen. I highly suggest the French dip or the creamy ranch dip. That's perfect for any game day watch party.
The most incredible sale of the year is on right now at Diamonds Direct. Save an extra 20% store-wide. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, and designer jewelry. It's our biggest store-wide sale of the year. This weekend only, shop never-before-seen pieces, plus designers' appearances in the store. Save an extra 20% on Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off this Friday through Sunday. For the best selection, quality, and price, shop direct. Diamonds Direct. For details, visit diamondsdirect.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. or go to rexbuyskc.com. That's rexbuyskc.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Hey, investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get into that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Neighbors getting new roofs due to hail damage this year? Then you're a likely candidate for a new roof, too. Century Roofing, voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 years straight, is giving back this holiday season. For all roof repair and replacement contracts signed before the end of the year, Century Roofing will donate a portion of proceeds to benefit Operation Breakthrough, which helps KC kids in need. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for an inspection today. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
I'm Tiffany, founder of Harlem Pilates. When I couldn't find Pilates in my neighborhood, I started a studio from my studio apartment. Chase Inc. helped me grow from 1 Pilates studio to 3. Because when you start small, you're going to need some big help.
With the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
I'm Jenna Fisher. And I'm Angela Kinsey. And together we have the podcast Office Ladies.
Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere.
Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode.
So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic brought to you by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Just a few slowdowns are around the downtown loop and into downtown via northbound 35, but otherwise no collisions to report across the metro. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. A new week in the NFL starts tonight. The Drive gets you ready for the weekend ahead with Sunday storylines.
I want to get to Sunday storylines here in a bit, but before we do that, this is the first time that we potentially have been in this position. So the NFL has until tomorrow to decide if they want to flex Week 16's Thursday night football game. They just added that into the CBA with the television deal, so every game can be flexed. Thursday night football can be flexed. Monday night football can be flexed. We can really start moving things around. So Week 16 is currently Browns and Bengals. But that's also the same weekend as Broncos and Chargers. So that game would make a lot of sense to me if you want to nationally televise games. 2 teams in the same division, 2 teams that currently have a winning record, 2 teams that are in line to make the postseason. That is not what we think Browns and Bengals are going to be. This would be my question, Rob. if you're not going to flex out Browns and Bengals late in the season, then why do you have the ability to flex games? That is the kind of game that you absolutely want to flex out of a nationally televised window. And if Amazon has the power that we think they have in the National Football League, why would you not move that game out of there and move in? I mean, it's also a divisional opponent. It's a game that has far more playoff implications. There's no reason to keep Browns and Bengals on Thursday Night Football later in the season if you have the ability to swap it out for another divisional game.
I don't know why they wouldn't move it. It feels like the NFL wrote this into the rule books for this exact moment.
I agree.
We complained about it. I recall it was last year on this time. We talked about how the NFL is now creating a new rule where you can flex Thursday into Thursday night or flex around Thursday night. And we felt it was another example of Roger Goodell just bowing to the almighty dollar and, hurting the product on the field. But now that we are in the spot we are in, there is absolutely no reason to straddle the viewing audience with Browns and Bengals. None. It should be moved. Now, I'm not guaranteeing what the game they move is. Broncos and Chargers does seem like the safest bet on the slate, but I don't know what they will do, but I cannot imagine Browns and Bengals is holding that slot. I imagine at some point over the next 24 to 48 hours to get the alert, new game on Week 16 Thursday Night Football.
All right, I want you to think about this. I don't have the answer right now. I literally just saw it 30 seconds ago while you were talking. So the Rams, as an organization, they announced their Mount Rushmore for running backs. It's a pretty strong group. Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, Steven Jackson, and Todd Gurley. So they have those as their running back. I want you to think on, Rob, who you would have as the Chiefs running back Mount Rushmore, and what organization do you think has the strongest Mount Rushmore in the National Football League? You don't got to do this right now. I want you to just think on it for a little bit, because when I saw it, I was looking at it and I was like, that's pretty good. Now, I don't think this is the best one. I think you could probably make a Chiefs one that's a little bit better than this, but you got two all-time legendary players. And Todd Gurley, for a time there, was one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, if Steven Jackson's your last one, he's okay. But, no, I'd be very curious to know who you think the Chiefs running back Mount Rushmore would be, and what team in the league do you think would have the absolute best one. We'll get to that at some point in today's show. I want you to ponder it for just a bit. All right, Rob, let's talk about what is coming up on Sunday, because let me tell you, folks, that Sunday slate this week, it is bad. This is not me hating on the National Football League. There is no game on Sunday between two teams with a winning record. There is only two games that involve a team with a winning record, and their opponent is at least 500. This week is the worst week by far in the National Football League. Usually that's the week after Thanksgiving, just because, you got 3 games on Thursday. You got a Friday game now. You got Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. So Sunday usually gets kind of left out in the cold. Next Sunday is actually a really good slate of games in the National Football League. That is not what we have this week. This week is bad, Rob.
That is exactly where I'm going to start Sunday storylines, Carrington. Let's start with the bad weekend that is, you mentioned it, not a single game on the Sunday slate features two teams that are above 500, specifically the noon slate. Really stinks.
Yeah, it's bad.
You can maybe squint and look into it and be like, that 325
is
watchable.
It ain't good, bro.
It's light years better than noon. So you, Carrington, sell me the week before Thanksgiving. Convince me to stay at home and watch the NFL knowing it's a bunch of bums playing against good teams across the slate.
The best reason I can give you to sit and watch is we only get so many red zone days. That's why I think you got to be.
No one in those midday slates is going to the red zone.
But still, you put them on the red zone. You got Chiefs and Panthers on one TV. You got the red zone humming for the other TV, and you gotta hold it down for this week. That's what you gotta do. You just simply gotta hold it down for this week. This is a bad week, though. There's no question about it. Not even close. The best game of the week is actually San Francisco and Green Bay, which that's a solid game. It's not a great game by any means. I mean, the best game this week in the National Football League is on Monday with the Ravens and the Chargers, the Harbaugh Bowl, and two teams that right now have 7 wins. Almost every other game this weekend in the league you can keep.
I mean, the big winners in the weekend is ESPN because they have the watchable game.
Yeah, they got the one good game, yeah.
They have the game. Speaking of the games.
It's actually bad when tonight's game is one of the better games of the weekend. When you're looking at Steelers and Browns as one of the better games, that's how you know it's a lot of meat on the bone this week.
Also, we're talking about a game that features the Browns.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey, the bottom of the AFC North, that's a real North Star for the weekend.
I can't argue that.
Speaking of bad football, Carrington, we are now closing in on firing season. Now, we have seen a couple coaches take the axe already, but who do you believe is next? Carrington Harrison, you tell me, who is the next fired coach across the National Football League?
There is absolutely no chance that Matt Eberflus is going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears next year. They've already started the process of firing him. I don't know why they let him get an extra season when we all knew it basically was playoff or bust. And you're saying playoff or bust with a rookie quarterback? You're probably not going to make the postseason. The Bears are not what people thought they were going to be. They're going to miss the playoffs, and they're going to blame their head coach for it. I could see them doing it coming up in a couple of weeks. You've already fired the offensive coordinator. There ain't that many people left to fire outside of the head coach, and you starting over with the new general manager and Ryan Poles as well. So I think the Bears are loading up for a reset coming up in the next, 4 or 5 weeks or so.
I know it hasn't happened yet, but in this same vein, how on earth is Doug Peterson still employed? Doug Peterson feels like the layup here, but it's their bye week. He survived back-to-back London games. They got just humiliated last week in Detroit, and yet future Chiefs offensive coordinator Doug Peterson remains employed. Explain it to me.
Yeah, I don't know. The Jacksonville Jaguars have had so many opportunities to fire Doug Peterson, and his key card continues to work that they're not going to fire him until the end of the season. He's going to be a Black Monday firing. Right when the season is over, you're expecting the tweet to come down at 11:07 Eastern that Jacksonville has decided to move in a different direction. Who's going to be the hot candidate outside of Ben Johnson? Because he's certainly going to be number one. But if you're Ben Johnson, I don't know why you just don't continue to wait until the job that you really want comes open. I don't know what job that is. I imagine that at some point you want to be a head coach in the National Football League. But if you get to call the plays and Dan Campbell is giving you complete autonomy to run the offense the way that you want to, and you're on a team that's a legitimate Super Bowl contending team, you've got a pretty good job right now. So there's no reason to rush and go take something because you feel like you would. Does he want the Cowboys job? Does he want the Jets job and to walk into that? I don't know what job he would want, but outside of Ben Johnson, who is even the other candidate that's out there that people would just that they really want?
Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick will be the hottest name in coaching in about a month. People will be fawning over Bill Belichick because
I feel like it's Cowboys or bust for him. I can't see him coaching just another random team.
I could see the Jags. I know there are reports that they're interested in him.
We think he's about to go coach Jacksonville.
I could see a franchise that needs a hard reset going after him. So I don't think it would be the Jets, but the Jets would fall into that category. I think the Bears could fall into that category. If you need a hard reset at leadership, I think he's about to be a very, very sexy name.
Yeah, you know what? Seeing Bill Belichick after all those years in New England and he's about to break the record coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's got big Patrick Ewing planned for the Orlando Magic. That's got Akeem Olajuwon going to the Toronto Raptors. That's nasty work. I don't want Bill Belichick to do that. Either go coach the Cowboys or just stay on TV.
Speaking of the NFL and actual games on the field, only one actual on-the-field Sunday storyline question this week, as we talked about how bad the week is. Carrington, 2 of the actual watchable games this week feature NFC West games. We got the Cardinals and the Seahawks at 3:25.
I'm really into the NFC West. It's a fun division.
And we got Niners and Packers too. That division is wild because everyone is the epitome of mediocrity. You tell me, who is winning the NFC West?
I switch every week on this thing, and I can admit it. There is a time that you can convince me that San Francisco is about to get right, but then they lose at home to Seattle the way that they did. I think that Arizona has been the most consistent team, but I'm going to pick Arizona to win that division, and you guys know how much I love the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to pick San Francisco. I don't want to pick San Francisco. I think it's the wrong answer, but it seems like the right answer. I know what I just said contradicts itself, but you guys know exactly what I mean. You know what I'm saying is true. I don't like San Francisco. They have not been consistent at any point this season, but they're still better than those other 3 teams in the division. They should win the division, but they'll probably find a way to lose it.
So you're off the Rams bandwagon. You were all that was your flavor of the month in October. You were all in on the Rams.
I can admit that I'm flip-floppy on this thing. Absolutely. I 100% believe that I'm going to be flip-floppy. 100%. This is the thing that I know you probably have another question to ask me, but this is how the NFL really has us. So if you look at this weekend in the league, there is not a single game on Sunday between 2 teams with the winning record. The text line is filled with this. Hey, guys, I don't know why you're calling this a bad weekend. It could be an upset special weekend. The NFL got us hooked. The NFL got you hooked. You can't wait to watch the Titans pull off an upset? No, thanks. I'm sorry. I mean, I'll be watching it too, so I'm part of the problem too. But my goodness, there is no way to spin this weekend in the National Football League. It ain't good. I'm sorry. Next week, like if I go through the games next week's schedule, because, we're going to have next Sunday free too. Chiefs play on Black Friday. I mean, Chiefs barely play this Sunday. I mean, I know they got a game and all, but I mean, they play in Carolina. I mean, I don't know how worried you need to be about that. I can definitely have one eye on Red Zone coming up too. And if they got you doing the heavy lifting for this week's schedule, I mean, you might as well go work for the PR department. My goodness.
I was going to say my final question for Sunday Storylines is, despite the bad schedule and the Chiefs game, which gets the main TV in Casa de Carrington, because there's no reason that noon slate should beat the Chiefs out. None.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll have the Chiefs on the main TV, and I'll have Red Zone on the no, there's no reason for the Chiefs not to get the sound, and yeah, no, they'll be on. They'll be on. I'll have my eye on the Red Zone, though, and I will be secretly hoping that the Chiefs just go out here and pummel the Carolina Panthers so I don't have to worry about the second half. I mean, that's what I really want to have happen. Yeah, no, for sure. That's what I want to have happen, but they don't really blow teams out. Rob, if you had to put a team on upset alert, who is a team that you would put on upset alert for this week? Because, I guess you could argue the Lions. They got Indianapolis at home. Indianapolis isn't that bad of a team. There's just... This week's just kind of to me. If I had to suggest one team, I think Indianapolis at home seems like a possibility of a team that could pull off an upset.
I mean, Bears and Vikings would be my pick. Bears at home, they looked better last week with the new offensive coordinator. Vikings, the road game, division opponent, all the stuff we saw last week from Packers and Bears. But it's a lot of any given Sunday energy. That's kind of how I feel.
No, that's very, very fair. So we were asking this question. So the Rams, they put out who they believe is their running back Mount Rushmore, and it was a pretty decent group. So I asked you guys, who do you think, what team in the league has the best Mount Rushmore for running backs, and what do you think the Chiefs would be? So this has been, I think, a pretty common theme. Priest Holmes, Jamal Charles, and Christian Okoye, those as being locks, and it's been sort of a revolving door for who the fourth running back would be. Who do you think the fourth running back would be? Larry Johnson feels like a pretty good answer, but his run was pretty short. Joe Delaney, rest in peace. He probably just didn't play long enough to, I think, at least warrant it for on-the-field accomplishments for being in this group. But if you added Joe Delaney as the fourth running back, I certainly really wouldn't push back a whole lot on this. Is there a great fourth option for who the Chiefs' Mount Rushmore is?
I was thinking about this, and I got to the same spot you did. I got to the 3 locks, and I think you have to put Larry Johnson in. I just think you do. I think his 06 season, and I apologize for not having the year off hand. I'm trying to relook it up. That one season was magical. I think you have to have Larry Johnson in your top 4, your Mount Rushmore of running backs for the Chiefs. If you don't want to put him there, it's because it was a short time, not a long time, but that's kind of how running backs work in the NFL. I mean, especially in Kansas City, it's not like you get 10, 15, 20-year seasoned pros like you do at quarterback or wide receiver. It's not the way it works. So, and I think you have to put Larry Johnson, but I also understand why people, because of his off-the-field behavior, might not want to do that, but I think Larry Johnson has to be the guy.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, and a couple people have suggested Marcus Allen as that player. I mean, I guess, but Marcus Allen, I think the Marcus Allen that people kind of envision, I mean, he got that off of playing for the Las Vegas Raiders, or I guess the Oakland Raiders at that time. I mean, he was phenomenal in his heyday. I mean, he never had more than 900 yards in Kansas City. Like, that's a guy that's on your Mount Rushmore that only played 4 seasons. I mean, Yes, but I don't think he would be on there. Larry Johnson feels like the right answer, but I'm not really sure if there is a good fourth option. I will say this, though. Somebody mentioned Tennessee as having the best one. This might be the best one that I've seen so far. So Tennessee's running back Mount Rushmore would be Chris Johnson, Earl Campbell, Eddie George, and Derrick Henry. You got to give me the organization that you think got a better 4 running backs than that one. That's a really strong one. We sitting here arguing about Marcus Allen, who was a shell of himself. If you're telling me the worst running back in that group was Chris Johnson that ran for 2,000 yards or Eddie George, that's a pretty strong group.
I think the Bears have a conversation here. I mean, the top end of the Bears is as good as anyone in the NFL. Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, 1-2. Like, I know we're looking for a Mount Rushmore. We're looking for 4. But 1-2, you get 2 of the best running backs. You get the best running back in the history of the league. I know Emmett broke his record, but that was a longevity game, not anything else. You get Walter Payton, Gale Sayers. I think the Bears are very much in the conversation. The problem becomes, like, it's Sayers, it's Walter Payton, and then it's, I guess, Matt Forte. Like, the fall off is strong, but their 1-2 is better than anyone's 1-2.
Yeah, man, if we talk about Matt Forte is in your Mount Rushmore, maybe you shouldn't be in this conversation. Maybe we should just simply move on. And we're trying to argue for Devin Singletary that is in your Mount Rushmore. Coming up in a bit, we're going to give you guys a chance to win a prize. I'll tell you the rules of the game coming up in a bit. Let's get back to talking a little bit of college football. If you guys missed it earlier today, Deion Sanders in Colorado, they got the #1 quarterback recruit. His name is Julian Lewis. He originally committed to USC to play quarterback for them. He decommitted. I think then it was sort of an open secret of that he decommitted from USC to go play football at Colorado. I think that Deion is coming back next year to be the head coach at Colorado. I don't think that he is going to follow Travis and his son off to the league. I think this is one of those things that Deion kind of needs to do for himself to prove to, I guess, everybody. Because I think Deion, he obviously comes off as a very prideful person. I get it, just given his athletic background. But I think up to this point, Deion in coaching has done almost everything they said he couldn't do. A lot of people question his ability to be good at Colorado. I was one of those people, so I'm not here backtracking on my statement. I didn't really think there was much of a reason to think that Deion was a good coach. He had more talent than everybody at a lesser level and dominated that lesser level, and you were not going to be able to do that. And in one offseason in the transfer portal, he got Colorado from a team that was pretty embarrassing last year in the Pac-12 to a team that is still in line to make the college football playoff. If Colorado wins their next 3 games, they are going to the college football playoff, and they're going to have a bye in the college football playoff. That is a tremendous turnaround from where they were last year. So Deion deserves a lot of credit for where Colorado is. That staff deserves a lot of credit, and they have turned things around. Now, I think they are potentially walking into a buzzsaw. I think it was Lou Holtz that said this a couple of days ago. Like, you were either chasing greatness or you were trying to be a spoiler at this point in the season. And we know what category that KU is, and KU still has a lot to play for. They're trying to lock in a bowl game for themselves. If they beat Colorado, they're 5-6, and now it is just, can you beat Baylor and you are going on to a bowl game? And I understand that finishing 6-6 is nothing to throw a parade about, but when you got off to the start that KU did, and you were able to keep that college team together to turn it around in the second half to make a bowl game, that is absolutely an accomplishment for KU as a program. We talk about the tough spot that Pittsburgh has tonight in Thursday Night Football. Man, Colorado has the exact same thing going for them coming up on Saturday against KU. I don't care what KU's record is. KU is very capable of beating Colorado on Saturday afternoon.
I mean, this is, according to the odds makers, and they are as unbiased and data-driven as anyone, they view this KU-Colorado game the same way they viewed the KU-Iowa State game and the same way they viewed KU-BYU. Carrington, I was on the show. I was off on Friday. I was listening to the show driving to Lawrence for KU Carolina, and you and Quentin were talking about how you didn't understand. Why is Iowa State only a 2.5-point favorite at Arrowhead against KU? KU then won outright by 9.
Smoked them, yeah.
Lo and behold, next week, same conversation. Wait, a top 10 team is at home playing a sub-500 team, only a 2.5-point, 3-point favorite, depending on where you bet? That makes no sense. I think you have to take BYU. KU beat them outright. If you go to DraftKings or FanDuel, ESPN Bet, whatever you pick, it's 2.5, 3 again. So Vegas is saying the same thing you are. Kansas is playing its best football right now. And Colorado, while I admit I was wrong about Deion, the same way me and you were on the same page about Deion.
100%.
We didn't know if he could coach. We know he could procure talent, but we didn't know if he could actually coach it. He has done a good job at Colorado this year. But some of his good job at Colorado is they have really faced the soft underbelly of the Big 12, a league that Michael Swain, who covers Kansas on the show, and says it's a bad league this year. It's fun and exciting, but it's bad football. They're thumping the Utahs of the world. They're taking care of business against Arizona. They went on the road and handled UCF. I mean, those are teams that are bad. And if Kansas had those teams, Kansas probably gobbles up 3 wins no matter what part of the season it is. So I am curious about Saturday because I think it will say a lot about Colorado if they go on the road with the distractions of their coach's future looming over them, with the hype and buzz about the playoff all throughout that program. If they go on the road and beat a good Kansas team in front of a good crowd, that will speak volumes to me about the Buffaloes.
Yeah, I think at least right now for Colorado, sometimes it's who you play, and we were talking about schedule a couple of days ago in college football. It's also when you play teams. That I don't really care what KU's record is right now. If you were playing a team that in back-to-back weeks beat BYU and Iowa State, this is the absolute worst time to play them. If they had played Kansas in mid-September, I think Colorado wins that game pretty easily. That's not the same KU team anymore. I would also argue that's not the same Colorado team. This is a different team than the one that got blown out a few months ago on the road against Nebraska. So we have seen two teams grow over the past 2 months, and I think it's one of the better games this weekend in college football. It's certainly not the marquee game. You got you got Indiana and Ohio State, but this is certainly one of the 5 best games this weekend in college football. You got Colorado as they are pushing for the playoff, and you got KU, who has been a giant killer the last few weeks or so. All right, we need full phone lines, 913-586-7965. Rob, it has been a long time since we have played a trivia mini game. I've got one question for you guys. If you think you know the NFL, if you think you know college football, then this is the game for you. We'll play, and the winner will get a pizza, and the rest of you will not get anything. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
As you've likely figured out, I can get pretty fired up. Whether it's lab diamond ripoffs, bogus sells and financing offers, or paint-by-number jewelry sold as custom, I'm pretty passionate about protecting my client family from predatory jewelers. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, and when I say client family, I really do mean family. At House of Diamonds, we have clients who have watched our kids grow from diapers to dormitories. My family and I are personally in the store every day. We go to school and church here. Our kids play sports here. We look our clients in the eye, not in their bank accounts. Our relationships are based on trust and respect, not ad gimmicks and false promises. No fake custom jewelry, no bogus sales and financing offers, and absolutely no lab diamond ripoffs. Everything at House of Diamonds is real. Me, my family, our team, our passion, and hopefully soon, you. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
Pizza Taccio, the king of Kansas City's New York-style pizza scene, has taken KC by storm. Pizza Taccio uses the highest quality local and organic ingredients, hand-tossed by KC natives. Oh, and did I mention they were voted KC's favorite pizza? Place your order now for pickup or delivery at pizzataccio.com. Or stop in for a slice at any of their locations in OP, Midtown, North KC, St. Joe, Waldo, or Belton, and dive into the taste that's conquering Kansas City, one slice at a time.
The election is finally over. Now you can get the cash you need.
Imagine what you could do with $50,000. Pay off credit cards, do home improvements, or even pay off auto loans. Golden Oak's mortgage rate is 5.25%. There's no out-of-pocket costs, so call today and make no payments until next year. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading property, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley has 0% financing for 48 months on new cant skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop by any Foley Equipment location today or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti to hear the Sims Spotlight featuring Super Bowl winning quarterback Phil Simms. Brought to you by Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature supplements. Changing the world one life at a time.
To all you tool people out there, has Harbor Freight got a deal for you? Big savings every single day this November. Because we know that right now, when the price of everything only seems to go up, you need a place where prices stay low. So shop in-store or online for quality tools you can trust at prices you'll love every day. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Hey, folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings, North Avenue and 71 Highway in Belton, Friday, November 22nd. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. Nothing easier to enjoy than that.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a two-car crash stopping traffic southbound 35. Cordell and Cordell traffic cams showing this at the on-ramp from 18th Street Expressway. You can expect slowdowns as you try to get onto 35 from the 18th Street Expressway. Also into downtown via northbound 35, looking at a few slowdowns as well. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's feeling it.
I am Champion Dot.
You never know when it's going to happen, but it's always your chance to win. Here's another edition of C-Dot's Trivia Minigame on The Drive.
All right, we're going to play a trivia minigame. It has been a while since we have played one of these. This is the question. The Chiefs are going up against Bryce Young on Sunday. As you guys know, he won the Heisman Trophy. There are 10 other active players in the National Football League who have won the Heisman Trophy. How many of them can you name? Now, it's been a while, so let me tell you the rules. We let you name as many of them as you can. When you miss, we hang up on you. But for this season of the mini game, we're going to add a wrinkle. If you get 4 of them, we will give you a pizza. Because I don't want it to be where you do all the heavy lifting and then the guy that only gets 1 at the end, he ends up winning the pizza. So if you get 4 of the 10, I'll give you a pizza. So we could give away a couple of pizzas in this thing, but whoever is the last man standing in this battle royale, they will get the pizza. All right, Evan, do you understand the rules? There are 10 Heisman Trophy winners in the NFL besides Carolina Panthers starters Bryce Young. How many of them can you name?
Got Caleb Williams.
Correct.
Got Devonta Smith.
Correct.
We got Baker.
Yep.
And before that was Lamar.
Yep. There are 6 left.
Kyler
Murray is correct. You got 5 left here. All right, stay on. You still can keep guessing. Stay on the phone. We'll give you a pizza. You've done good so far. All right, there's 5 players left who have won the Heisman Trophy that are in the league. Do you know who they are? Don't cheat.
I can't think of it.
All right, Evan. Hey, great job, man. You got 5 out of the 10. All right, man, I'm going to reward you. Stay on hold. I'm going to make sure you get a pizza. All right, David, there are 5 players left who are currently in the National Football League who have won the Heisman Trophy. These are the ones that are off the board. Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Devonta Smith, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Lamar Jackson. There are 5 other players. If you can name 4 of them, I'll give you a pizza. If not, I'm going to hang up on you.
All right. Go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Jaylen Daniels won last year,
He
right?
did win last year. That is correct.
Did you say Burrow?
Joe Burrow did win the Heisman Trophy at LSU. 2 LSU quarterbacks.
Mariota still in there?
Marcus Mariota plays for the Washington Commanders, yes.
Okay. You said Baker. Jameis Winston, did you say him?
Jameis Winston. All right, you won yourself a pizza. If you get the final one, I'll give you an additional pizza. There's 1 player left in the NFL that has won the Heisman Trophy. I'll give you the ones. Hold on. Don't turn your phone off. I know you're cheating here. So these are the quarterbacks that have already been, or players that have already been named. Jaylen Daniels, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Devonta Smith, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Marcus Mariota, and Jameis Winston. There's 1 more player in the league that has won the Heisman Trophy. Who is he?
Oh, man. I can't think of the last one.
All right, David, I'll put you on hold here. Great work there. You got 4. All right. Is it Randon? Is that how you pronounce your name?
That's me.
All right, Randon, who was the last player that won the Heisman Trophy?
As his fantasy owner, I'm going to have to go with my dog, Henry.
Derrick Henry is the correct answer. Derrick Henry won the Heisman Trophy. Congratulations. The 3 gave away 3 pizzas today. Man, I feel good. I feel great about what we did today. We're out here giving pizzas out. I feel good. Rob is dealing with the phones right now, so I want to tell you guys something now. I think that I have been spreading a lie on the show for years now, and I want to try to correct that wrong. I don't like false information to be out there, certainly not in regards to how I think or how I feel. All you have to do is ask, and I will tell you how I feel. I have been spreading a lie for quite some time, and it's time for me to address it. I am in the middle of rewatching Sopranos. Sopranos is the best show I've ever seen. I would have answered The Wire had you asked me this a month ago. I would have told you The Wire. I don't think it's even close between Sopranos and The Wire on the rewatch. And I've rewatched The Wire a bunch. I don't think it's close between the two. Sopranos is the best show I've ever seen. Now, you could text in another show, oh, what about Game of Thrones? I've seen it. Sopranos better than Game of Thrones. You could ask me, oh, what about Breaking Bad? I've seen it multiple times. Sopranos is better than that show. Sopranos is the best television show we've ever had. I have come to that conclusion on the rewatch. I have just finished up season 3. I'm heading into season 4. Rob, I don't think it's close. Sopranos is the best show we've ever had.
Are you going to rewatch all the top shows just to, be fair and even? Or are you, perchance, falling for recency bias because you are in a rewatch? Like, if you went, let's say it's February 21st. The Super Bowl's over. Everything's great. And you're like, I'm going to rewatch The Wire. Are you going to then come on here and be like, I was wrong. The Wire's best again because I'm watching it right now?
I don't need to rewatch The Wire, though. I don't need to rewatch The Wire. Now, maybe you're saying I need to go back and I need to rewatch, Game of Thrones. That might be fair. I've only seen Game of Thrones one time through the first time that I watched it. So if you're saying that, I am very confident that I don't need The Wire again to say that The Sopranos is a better show than The Wire.
What about it? Rewatch Breaking Bad. Have you seen Better Call Saul? Succession on HBO. There are shows that could loom in contention that I don't think you've even seen. So I'm still a Breaking Bad is the best show in television history person. I think Sopranos is in that top 5, but I think it's possible you are falling for just a little bit of recency bias because you're in the rewatch. I mean, you and the boss man talk about it every day like it was last night the show was on.
Literally, if I'm not watching sports, that's all I'm watching. I'm either watching sports, a movie for our podcast, or The Sopranos. I'm not watching anything else right now. Someone said, see that I've tried The Sopranos twice and I've never made it through season 1. You quit way too early. It gets really good in the middle. Where I'm at right now, it gets really, really good. I would encourage you to keep through it. I don't even know how you quit. I love the show. I've absolutely like, man, I kind of forgot how good this was. Someone said, what about True Detective? If you only got one good season as a show, you're not in this conversation. You're not in this conversation. And I don't mind season 3 and season 4 of True Detective. It's just not season 1, though. And I don't even know what happened with season 2. That was just a waste of everybody's time. I don't know anybody that likes season 2. Like, legitimately don't know anybody that likes it. Someone said, see that, you got to rewatch Game of Thrones. I don't mind going back to rewatch Game of Thrones. Because maybe I'm the only person that had this feeling, Rob, the first time I watched it. I didn't know who anybody was in that show the first time I watched it. Like, the first couple early seasons, I'm like, yo, who is he and how is he related to this person? It was confusing the first time I watched it. It took me like 2 seasons. I didn't really get into the show until Ned Stark and his timely demise. That's when I'm like, oh, okay, this show might be kind of good. And then the Red Wedding, I was like, oh, all right, that's good. That's good. But yeah, no, maybe I got to go back and do it. But I'm telling you, the Sopranos, it's incredible. I would highly, highly encourage you to check it out if you haven't seen it. All right, coming up on the other side, we were talking a little bit earlier about expansion. I have a question. Do you guys think that we will see another expansion team in our lifetime? We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a 2-car crash stopping traffic southbound 35. Cordell and Cordell traffic cams showing this at the on-ramp from 18th Street Expressway. You can expect slowdowns as you try to get onto 35 from the 18th Street Expressway. Also into downtown via northbound 35, looking at a few slowdowns as well. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan traffic.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
All right. When it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Hi, we're your friends who get super excited about the holidays.
We sure are. or this isn't the ugliest holiday sweater ever.
People think we're happy because we love peppermint lattes.
Or catching snowflakes on our tongues.
But really, it's because it's Holiday Millionaire Raffle season. It's your best odds to win $1 million.
That's dollars, not twinkling lights, but that would be great too.
Play the Kansas Lottery Holiday Millionaire Raffle. Get excited.
See kslottery.com for details.
Hey, sports fans, if you're not calling John Anthony, you're simply missing out. To prove it, I'm releasing your Thursday night report absolutely free unrecorded message line. 1-800-244-5506. Pittsburgh, Cleveland tonight is going to be a monster game. I've got the side and total. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, plus hoops and college football. That's 5 big plays. John Anthony has you covered. I love to sweep the board. Call now. Hear him for free on a recorded message. 1-800-244-5506. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. 1-800-244-5506. You want the information? I've got it. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, plus college football, hoops, and special prop action. I love to go 5-0 with the season free. 1-800-244-5506. That's 1-800-244-5506, or go to johnanthonysports.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group. Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local #2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Let's talk about the buying experience at Lewisburg Ford.
It's the best anywhere. Just ask all our customers, Toby. It is hands down the best experience you can have buying a new car. We have the no-hassle Toby Tobin price that we've had for 35 years now. Nobody else can say that. We've been saving Kansas City thousands and thousands of dollars for a lot of years.
I have been buying Ford cars and trucks from Lewisburg Ford for over 30 years. And I know personally this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck. Great prices, but there's a whole lot more than that.
It doesn't just stop at price, Toby.
No.
There's other factors to this equation, and it's trade-in allowance, financing, and the experience of how knowledgeable the people are that you're dealing with. And we surpass everybody in all those areas. We always have. We always will. That's why calling us is important.
Do you have that new pickup?
Absolutely. And it's dynamite.
Okay. Lewisburg Ford is your best place to buy a Ford car or truck. What's your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Lewisburg Ford or lewisburgford.com.
You can find out what your home is worth in a matter of seconds by a true market expert. Go to homesforsaleandkc.com and click the button, How much is your home really worth? My friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, can help. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, contact them to discuss their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on it every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Text line 913-586-7965. Someone said, you know that the game doesn't matter this weekend, CDOT, if you're about to discuss NFL expansion on a Thursday. What do you guys want me to do? What do you want me to do? I do have a question about the defense, and we'll get to that coming up in a bit. But, I mean, they are playing the Carolina Panthers. I'm saving my Panthers topics for tomorrow. I don't have 2 days of Panthers thoughts in me. I just got 1 day.
The fact you have a whole day is honestly impressive.
No, I've been compiling Panthers thoughts all week, and I will unveil all of them tomorrow. I don't have a whole lot, though. They're not good. They've been the worst team in the league for the last 3 consecutive seasons.
Are the takes, boy, that ownership group's bad?
That's part of it. That's part of it. So we could talk about how they've ruined Bryce Young. We could talk about a lot of things. They're bad. I don't have 2 days of thoughts. No, I don't. I just got 1. I got un day of thoughts. But I was thinking this, and this is Carolina Panthers adjacent. Some of us are old enough to remember when the Panthers were not a thing. I remember I had 1 starter jacket. Now, Rob, I don't know if you had a starter jacket back in the day, but I had a starter jacket. I had the Carolina Panthers starter jacket, and I thought I was the coolest kid in the world. I remember on Madden 95, they weren't on the game that you had to put in the code. I still remember what the code was to play with the Carolina Panthers. We got 2 teams that just popped up out of nowhere. And then a few years later, we got the Houston Texans, another team that just popped up out of nowhere. And it's been a long time since we've had a team like that. Rob, do you think we'll get another expansion team in our lifetime? Because I actually don't think that we're going to get another one. Now, I know that you guys believe that the NFL is so money hungry and crazy and that they will do anything. And I agree with you for the most part. They don't have enough quarterbacks for the league that they currently have. We think that they're going to create even more scarcity at the most important position. We're talking about them getting to 34 or maybe more teams, and they don't have enough quarterbacks for their current 32. The NFL does not have they don't have too much talent that you think, oh man, we got to add more teams. No, I don't think that's the case at all. I also don't think that there is no American city that doesn't have an NFL team that we think should have one. Now, maybe a team should go back. If you were telling me tomorrow that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to go back to San Diego, great. They already got the Rams. Does LA need 2 teams? Go ahead and give San Diego back their team. If you want to give Oakland back their team, I'm perfectly fine with that. There's no American city that doesn't have an NFL team that I think deserves another shot. No, I'm sorry. St. Louis, you had multiple opportunities. You failed both chances. You would fail the third time. We're fine. Do we also think that the NFL really wants international expansion? I know it's an idea that they've toyed around with, but there's a lot of things to go into. Now we're about to put an NFL team in Mexico City. Now we're going to put an NFL team in London. And I don't even know if those markets are maybe clamoring for a home team. Just continue doing what you're doing. Give London more international games. If we all believe that they're going to expand the regular season and go from 17 to 18, you're now telling me that you're going to add 16 additional NFL games throughout the season? Then just give London a couple of them. I think as long as you give NFL home fans 8 regular season games, I think they're perfectly fine with you. Hey, you guys can have this London game. We want to go over to London. We want to make it a trip. We want to make it an experience. I think NFL fans have kind of come along with that, as long as you're not going to take away home games. And I think every NFL season ticket holder expects that they're going to have 8 regular season games to attend. So I think you can give London a team without giving them a team. You can put 8 games over there, create a season ticket package, and if you're the London football fan, hey, every morning we're going to give you guys a different game. We're going to create our own window that it's going to be your team, your game, and you're going to be able to have your own team. I think they're going to be able to do that. I don't think we're getting another expansion team in the NFL anytime soon, Rob.
I think we are. And I think it's because 5, 10, 15 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, things the NFL is doing now, I would have said, hey, you think the NFL is going to do this one day? You would have said, I don't think so. They're going to go to 18 games. They're at 17 now. Did you ever think they were leaving the 16-game schedule? Maybe you kind of felt it, but they're doing it, and they're going to keep doing it. It's going to keep expanding. Did you ever think the international games would be at 5, 6, 7, 8 a season? Nope. That's kind of where they're at now. Did you ever think a playoff game would be on a streaming-only platform? You probably didn't. Did you think multiple regular season games over the course of the season would be buried on a streaming platform? You would have bet against that too. They just keep doing this stuff, and it just keeps working because America doesn't stop watching football. So I don't disagree with you. They do have a quarterback talent problem, a quarterback development problem, a identifying of the player in the draft. They have a quarterback problem. But Carrington, do they care? Because those problems exist now, and we keep watching. We joked about it earlier in the show in Sunday Storylines. It's a horrible week of football in the league. You know what is going to dominate the televisions on most every household in America this Sunday? The bad NFL games. Let's put the Chiefs to the side because they're a behemoth. There are going to be people who sit down this weekend to spend time and energy watching Colts and Lions. You want to watch the Colts and Lions? That's not a good game. Anthony Richardson is not a good quarterback. His development is stifled, but it doesn't matter. We're going to watch. We're all in. You've joked all show long. Hey, tonight's going to be very ugly football. Like, not aesthetically pleasing, not enjoyable to watch. Like, prepare for a 15-13 slobber knocker. That should scare viewers away. It doesn't. We keep watching. So they'll expand to 34 because they can, because it seems like there is no limit to what they can do.
This is where I think you're a little bit off, and I would give the NFL a little bit of credit. Someone else said on the text line, they agree with you, CDOT, they don't think about quarterbacks. They're going to Europe within 10 years for sure. You guys know how long they've been playing these games in London? They've been playing these games in London since 2007, and they are not close to getting there. If I had asked you back in 2007, hey, the NFL is thinking about playing games in London, how soon until they put a team over there? Everyone would have said, I don't know, like the next 5 years or so. If they were going to add another NFL team, they've had a bunch of chances to do it, and the time to do it was right after you expanded the television deal. That's exactly what the NBA is talking about, right? The NBA is talking about, we just expanded our television contract. We got more new money popping in than ever. Now is the time to do it. There's a real momentum in the NBA to do this. I also think there's momentum in Major League Baseball to do this, and it's certainly going to pick back up in 2028 when they again change their television deal. The NFL has had a lot of opportunities where if you wanted to add a couple extra teams and really infuse some new money in the sport, you've had the opportunity. I think the NFL has been pretty strategic about the way they want to do it. After COVID, they went really hard on gambling dollars. We want you to gamble on these games, and we're going to make up the revenue that we lost in 2020. We're going to make it up that way. All right, we lost a lot of revenue in 2020. What's one way that we can get this money back? Hey, let's start selling individual games to these streaming services because they're going to pay an astronomical amount for these things. Is the NFL even thinking about expanding? Sure, it pops up every once in a while. Well, we might put the Super Bowl over here. They've never come close to putting the Super Bowl internationally. So I just don't think that we are at a place in the NFL that they're now going to chop off. I mean, in order to do this, I have to go back and really read the expansion draft, but every team has to nominate some players. You need new quarterbacks in the league. It's going to be a lot. I don't know if the NFL is that much interested in now completely diluting its product again when the product is at a pretty good place right now. It's pretty consistent. Fans are happy with it. They are buying with it. You're getting new fans into the sport from around the world. There's a lot of good things going on with the National Football League that I'm not sure if putting a team in Toronto and one team in London, I'm not really sure if that improves things at all.
Let me paint a scenario for you. The current CBA expires in 2030, and that CBA negotiation is going to be a wild ride because that's going to be gambling money. That's going to be streaming services. The NFL CBA ends in 2030. Let me paint a scenario where the NFL expands and they just burn through what you just talked about and they sell it to the fans and the fans gobble it up. They expand to 34 and they expand the playoffs and they sell the parity dream harder than you've ever had. We're at 34 teams now, but 16 make the playoffs. You might have to lop off the bottom third of your roster, but that is where coaching and culture really matters, and we will see what happens with a wide open playoffs. We're going to eliminate the bye, the 1 versus the 8. It's going to be great. You can see a scenario where an expanded playoff and expansion teams come in during the same timeline, and the CBA expires in 2030. So I don't know that's going to happen, but 2030 seems like a timeline of more change coming, and the NFL has historically been an agent of change.
If the NFL is not interested in a complete 50-50 partnership with the players, I don't think they'll get to that point. I do not think that you are going to sell the players on. We're going to add another game, and some of you are now going to start living in London and Germany. I don't think you're pushing all of those things at the same time unless you want a pure 50-50 split with the players or you want to start guaranteeing contracts. There's probably a pathway to doing what you're talking about if the NFL is willing to really be a true 50-50 partner with the players. But I don't think the NFL has any interest in doing that. I don't think they have any interest in guaranteeing contracts because you're not getting me to agree to both. Maybe the players would agree to one of the things, and I think we know eventually the players are going to agree to play more games for just a little bit more money. But those seem like two radical changes to the league that I just don't see happening at the same time. I was reading a story just a little bit ago that I want to share some of the numbers. There is a clear line in the defense for when the numbers started to dip a little bit. It was when they had Jaylen Watson healthy and when they didn't have him healthy. I'll ask you guys the questions. If you could bring back one player in the second half, would you bring back Rice or would you bring back Watson? Because I think I'm on the side is I think this team needs Jaylen Watson more than they need any other injured player. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It's time to start a new week in the NFL. Let's get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Let's build a quick same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take the Steelers plus the points. I'm also going to take the over for Russell Wilson passing yards. I'm also going to take Najee Harris to score an anytime touchdown. If you want to make this same-game parlay or build your own, all you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. Don't miss a second of the NFL action with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
Neighbors getting new roofs due to hail damage this year? Then you're a likely candidate for a new roof, too. Century Roofing, voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 years straight, is giving back this holiday season. For all roof repair and replacement contracts signed before the end of the year, Century Roofing will donate a portion of proceeds to benefit Operation Breakthrough, which helps KC kids in need. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for an inspection today. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And while cars do need wheels, they also need insurance. And insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever. The Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
The most incredible sale of the year is on right now at Diamonds Direct. Save an extra 20% store-wide. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, and designer jewelry. It's our biggest store-wide sale of the year. This weekend only, shop never-before-seen pieces, plus designers' appearances in the store. Save an extra 20% on Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. Plus, the biggest selection of the year starting this Friday through Sunday. For the best selection, quality, and price, shop direct. Diamonds Direct. For details, visit diamondsdirect.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Stack up the savings with deals all month. Get up to 50% off select major appliances, plus take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And don't wait to save on string lights, starting at just $2.98 for 100 count. Shop these deals in-store or online now, because Lowe's knows deals. Appliances valid 11/6 to 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items. String lights valid 11/21 through 12/4 while supplies last.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic is brought to you by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Seeing those brake lights this time of day, southbound 71 starting at MLK and going through East Gregory. Northbound 71 also slow down start at East Gregory and go up. We've also got some brake lights eastbound 70 on the Metro's east side coming out of 435. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price, open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Trey Smith. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I was reading a story courtesy of The Ringer, and if you look at some of the Chiefs' defensive numbers, there is a clear line in the defense. It is when the defense had Jaylen Watson healthy and available, when they didn't. Now, when they had Jaylen Watson pre the ankle injury, their defense was the exact same defense that it's been. But since losing Jaylen Watson and now having to kind of make up for his absence, you have been able to pick on the Chiefs' defense just a little bit. Now, I think we should have probably seen this in the game against Tampa Bay. That was a team that didn't have any weapons on the outside. Now, I understand things happen and your defense isn't going to be perfect, but that was 2 minutes to go. Baker Mayfield with his back up against the wall, and he had some of the worst pieces and parts in the National Football League, and you knew they were not running the football. This was just your pass rush, your pass defense against Baker Mayfield and a bunch of other guys, and their defense could not hold up in that scenario, and that has kind of been the theme. I don't think that we gave the Jaylen Watson injury nearly enough credit. And I get it. You have seen Spags kind of just make these wide receivers, cornerbacks appear out of nowhere. He did that with Travarius Ward. He did that with L'Jarius Sneed. He was doing that to Jaylen Watson. And when the Watson injury happened, we all kind of treated it like, oh, well, next man up. They got Najee Johnson. They got Joshua Williams. They'll be able to figure things out. To me, there has been a noticeable difference. I'm not saying that Hollywood Brown is not going to make a difference, but I think their offense can make it without him. Once you get to the postseason and you get the postseason version of Travis Kelce, you get more DeAndre Hopkins where he's just on the field more than he's been. You get Isaiah Pacheco back. I think you have more than enough offense. I know you guys call me corner dot, but what you saw on Sunday has to be concerning just a little bit. I actually think that their cornerback issue is a little greater right now than their left tackle issue. I think Wanya Morris is fine. Now, if an injury happens to Wanya, do you have enough depth and attrition to carry on without him? That's a legitimate question. But if you're asking right now, what's a weakness for the Chiefs? I think it's their secondary. I think it's the bodies that they have, and you can only scheme so much. Eventually, you got to have guys, and eventually you're going to have where Trent McDuffie can't guard everybody. There's going to be a scenario where you got a Mari Cooper or a Zay Flowers or a George Pickens, and they're going to be lined up against a Nazeeh Johnson, a Joshua Williams, and do you think they can win that matchup? Those guys did not win that matchup consistently against the Buffalo Bills, and you're talking about the AFC where you're going to have to beat a couple of good quarterbacks in order to get back to the Super Bowl. So if you were asking me if I could wave a magic wand and bring somebody back, I think the answer would be Jaylen Watson. I think his injury was a much bigger blow to this team than we wanted to admit, and the expectation was that Spags could just keep turning it over and just keep making more of these guys. I don't know if they have the proper Jaylen Watson replacement on their roster right now, Rob.
Let me ask you this, and I don't want to diminish what you're saying or diminish how good Jaylen Watson was to the Chiefs this year because he was very good when on the field. You know, I know you said there's no magic, hey, bring a guy back, kind of like the offense can get, Hollywood Brown back or, Isaiah Pacheco's coming back in the fold, those sorts of things. But how much can the defense change if a Minahu comes back? Because there has always been a connectivity between pass rush and secondary. Now, people will argue if you have a great, secondary, the pass rush doesn't matter, vice versa. I'm not looking to see which side of that coin you fall on, but I think the pass rush being pretty mediocre recently, which has been the case. Josh Allen was largely unscathed in the pocket against the Chiefs, and Baker Mayfield, one of the reasons he was able to throw to weapons that stink is because he was largely unscathed. Does a Minahu's return potentially help this issue? Because Nazeeh Johnson covering a guy for a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi is far easier, and you can scheme it up a little bit more than having to cover for a 4th, 5th, maybe 6th Mississippi if you can finally get home to that quarterback. So while help is not on the way for the secondary, could Charles Minahu ipso facto be that help that cures a little bit of this problem? Because Jaylen Watson is out. He is not coming back this season.
No, he's not coming back in the regular season. I certainly get it. But I also don't want to paint Charles Minahu like you're getting back Khalil Mack and you're getting back one of the elite pass rushers in the league. He is a fine player, but the Chiefs right now are 26th in sacks. You think you get back to being elite at pass rush because you get Charles Minahu back? Like last year, the Chiefs were 2nd in the NFL in sacks, and right now they're 26th in sacks. That is a big jump that I don't think that Charles Minahu is being able to close that gap entirely. Last year, you had 2 lockdown corners on the outside. So you had a Trent McDuffie who was an all-pro, and you had a guy like L'Jarius Sneed that you felt really good, and then you had your role players really step in. They're not getting the same pass rush that they had last season. I don't care if Charles Minahu comes back or not. They're not going to have the same pass rush they had last year. So your corners, I think it's going to be better for sure. He's certainly an improvement over what you have. But you're going to expect these guys to be able to cover. And I think we all know if this team is going back to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat 2 really good quarterbacks. You're going to have to beat Russell Wilson. You're going to have to beat Lamar Jackson. You're going to have to beat Josh Allen. And I just saw those corners go up against Josh Allen, and Josh Allen picked on him. There was nobody really to pick on last year. You couldn't pick on cornerback number 2 last year. Sure, if you don't want to throw to Trent McDuffie, that's fine. You got to now throw to L'Jarius Sneed. Why would I target Trent McDuffie a lot if I could go to this other side and I can take my pick on who this other guy is going to be? Whether it's going to be Joshua Williams, whether it's going to be Roland Wallace. Like, you want to talk about doing it bare bones. I mean, think about who the other side is. Right now, opposite Trent McDuffie, who is a first-round pick, on the other side now with no Jaylen Watson, you got 7th-round Nazeeh Johnson, you got undrafted Christian Roland Watson this year, and you got Joshua Williams, who was a late-round pick. Like, they are a little bit thin there and thinner than they are on some other positions. They've spent significant resources for depth at left tackle. It might not have worked out, but Kingsley was a 2nd-round pick. They don't have a whole lot of depth anymore in that cornerback room. They had some. That depth got hurt a couple of weeks ago.
I remember Josh Briscoe said this when he was on the show yesterday, and I'm pulling the Chiefs snap counts to look it up. I don't think what I'm about to say is some magic cure-all. Like, oh, that'll fix it. But if I recall looking at the snap counts from this weekend, The Chiefs did not play a lot of Joshua Williams. Joshua Williams was a little bit of...
Yeah, because Najee was out there getting cooked.
MIA. And there was a time where in Kansas City Chiefs history, hey, you know who was good or good enough? Joshua Williams. So I don't know it's at that point yet, and this is an extreme example, but I think you'll get it. Are we looking at maybe by the way, Josh Williams played 0 snaps in Week 11, so calling him MIA might even be a compliment. Meanwhile, Najee Johnson played every snap, like at corner, that is. Is it possible we are trending toward another Sorensen over Thornhill type of deal? Like, I'm not saying Joshua Williams is Juan Thornhill good, because Juan Thornhill was good in his time in Kansas City. But the fact that Najee Johnson, who is a barbecue chicken alert, played every snap at corner against the Bills, and the Chiefs at no point thought to themselves, hey, let's get this guy who we've liked in the past out there for some reps, and let's just see. Matt Verderams on this show, he's not great in zone, but he's solid in man. Josh Briscoe on this show said something similar and may like to see him get some more reps. If Najee Johnson is going to be just flambéed out there, just a smoked meat, why not give Joshua Williams a little more run, especially in games like the Browns and Panthers, which are basically preseason games just in the late part of the season?
Let me ask you this question, because this question is a very realistic scenario. I wouldn't even consider this to be an hypothetical based on what we saw from the Chiefs. Let's say that this is a 17-10 game heading into the fourth quarter. Let's say the Panthers are taking the field with their offense. How confident are you in the defense? Because there was a time that this wouldn't even have been a question about the defense, right? Hey, Chiefs are about to get off the field. 3 and out. They got a young guy. They're going to rattle this young guy. This defense is not rattling young quarterbacks. Bo Nix didn't seem too rattled to me against this defense. Bo Nix played fine for his first time going up against this defense. Baker Mayfield, with less weapons, went down the field against this defense. Josh Allen, who's playing as well as any quarterback in the league, certainly didn't feel very fearful about this defense. Is this a game that if you are once again asking your defense to help you win? That's what's happened the last couple of weeks. They asked the defense to help them win the game against Tampa Bay. They asked the defense to help them in the game against the Broncos, and last week against the Bills. If the Chiefs, we don't think, are going to run away from these teams, this isn't a conversation if we think they're going to beat the Panthers 31-3. Your defense played well. Your offense smoked them, and the second half was just kind of, hey, let's kind of cycle some guys in, and let's get those reps that you're talking about. If we think this is going to be a typical Chiefs game, which a typical Chiefs game is going to be Carolina's in it in the fourth quarter, do you trust their defense to get off the field? Because at least for me, my confidence in the defense has been shaken a little bit, because it's been a while since we've seen them really flex that muscle and look like a championship level defense that just stops teams.
You're about to see some really impressive wiggling out of your question by me. I would trust them on Sunday because the Panthers are so bad. But if you change the scenario, it's make it 17-13. Got to get a stop for a win. 17-13, Chiefs, Chargers. Sunday night football, Arrowhead Stadium. Justin Herbert's coming back on the field. It's a 4-point game. Can the defense get a stop to hold off their AFC West rivals? I would be chewing on my fingernails scared. I don't think that situation is going to play out with Minshew next week or Bryce Young this week, but it is 1,000%, to your larger point, something I agree with. The defense, with the opportunity the last 3 weeks, has failed to lock up the game. Buffalo won the game against that defense. Tampa Bay probably should have won the game against that defense. Denver probably should have won the game against that defense. Now, I just named a team that, when healthy, is a playoff team, the Broncos, who are a playoff team, and a potential 1 seed. So it's a little bit of, hey, I'm picking the best teams. But, man, if a capable quarterback and a capable team play in Kansas City and that scenario plays out, yes, I am terrified the defense will fall short in that moment.
Text line 913-586-7965. We're asking the question, if you could bring back an injured player, would you bring back Rashee Rice or Jaylen Watson? I think the defensive numbers are pretty telling the last couple of weeks, and I think Watson was an injury that I think we all kind of attributed to. Spags is going to figure it out, next man up. I think they're struggling a little bit more in the secondary than we expected them to, and I think that he was a pretty critical member of this defense, and I think he was very, very good the first 6 weeks of the season. He was one of their best and most consistent defensive players. And I think since his injury, they've really struggled to kind of find who that second cornerback opposite of Trent McDuffie was going to be. Spags met with the media earlier today. Here he is talking to the media about third down against the Buffalo Bills and how this team couldn't get off the field.
The one thing that is concerning to me is that we need to win more third downs. Last week, in prior games, there has been games where the number of third downs has been low, and they've been in the third and 3 to 4 to 5 range. We were able to get them in 11 third and 6 pluses. You got to win more of those, and we didn't. I got to look at what I'm calling. We got to look at what we're doing, and there were some of those mistakes that we're talking about were on those particular plays.
I mean, the telling part to me in the game on Sunday, like if you're looking for one drive, one possession that kind of defined the game to me, that I think kind of symbolizes this conversation of sort of where they are defensively. It was one of the final offensive plays for Buffalo in the game. We all knew that Kansas City had to get off the field. It was a one-score game, and you cannot allow a touchdown. You can allow Buffalo to get points, but you cannot allow them to get a touchdown. It was 3rd and 9 from the Kansas City 44-yard line. It was 4 minutes and 34 seconds left in the game. You got to get off the field here. You get off the field here, you force a punt, or you force them into a 4th and 7 scenario where now they're really in between if they want to go for it or not go for it. You put yourself in an advantageous spot on defense. They trusted their quarterback again in Buffalo. Like at the end of the game, they trusted Josh Allen to go make a play, and he made both of the plays they needed him to make. It was 3rd and 9 from the Kansas City 44. They needed 9 yards. They got 10 yards from Khalil Shakir, and he was wide open because they were trying to send pressure. So it could be one of those chicken or the egg argument. Rob, you mentioned the pass rush, and they're not getting home. So they had less guys in coverage. Khalil Shakir is wide open over the middle of the field. Cook, I thought, delivered a big shot trying to get him to drop it. Kid just made a really good catch. And then we obviously know the next set of downs, 4th down, the Chiefs couldn't get off the field. On 3rd down, that was the big difference in the game. On the final drive of the game, Buffalo had 3 either 4th down or 3rd down conversions. They scored a touchdown. They ultimately won the game. Here is Spags talking about how some of the mistakes cost the Chiefs a chance to win the game.
I was more concerned with some of the things that some of the errors that we made as a unit that were uncharacteristic. I showed 11 of them on Tuesday. Very uncharacteristic of our group. Had we cut them in half, I think we find a way to give Patrick a chance to win the game. Let's just say that.
I think that's what stood out the most to me is I would say over the last, few years or so, the Chiefs have played very much complementary football on both sides. The offense has stepped up when needed. The defense has stepped up when needed. Special teams has stepped up. That this is one of the few times that I can remember that one of the sides of the ball, I think, let the Chiefs down. This defense has pulled the offense out of the fire a lot. Now, eventually, you keep rolling the dice. Eventually, you're going to roll 7, and that's what happened on Sunday. But this was a chance where the offense went right down the field, put the defense in a good spot. You think the Chiefs have all the momentum, and this is where you expect your defense to really step up and really set the tone there. Be the more physical team, be the more imposing team. The Chiefs get off the field. The Chiefs get a stop. Buffalo is punting the ball back to Kansas City, and I think all of us feel the same, that the Chiefs are going to score on that drive and take the lead. That it was at least startling to me how easy it was for Buffalo to move the ball down the field and how frequently that's happened over the last 3 weeks.
It's a trend. Like we've talked about earlier this year, a lot this week and this year about, Xavier Worthy. And I called the almost a trend. At a certain point, the almost is the trend. 3 weeks in a row is now a trend for the defense. They are coming up short to win the game. Now, 2 of those games, special teams bailed them out. One of those games, special teams bailed them out, And one of those games, Patrick Mahomes went and bailed them out. But the defense has had chances to go win the game. Andy Reid has given his defense the opportunity to go win the game. And they have fallen short, which is why the complimentary football has popped back up. And I wonder if the Chiefs will now start being a little more aggressive team with the defense not being the team we thought it was 4, 5, 6 weeks ago? Do you see more, hey, it's 4th and 2, you're kind of in no man's land? Historically, Andy kind of punts there and says, I'm going to pin you back. I got this defense, watch out. Does he say, I don't know if that defense is going to lock you down? Does he get more aggressive? Does he do things like on Sunday, maybe taking the 2 points as opposed to the extra point after scoring a touchdown to cut the lead? Does he have to kind of adjust his mindset now, knowing that the defense, while still good, this is not the 2018 Chiefs defense. This is also not the 2023 Chiefs defense, or at least it hasn't been the last 3 weeks. I wonder if you start to see a little bit of a pivot from Andy to try to adjust, because historically he's been Mr. Conservative because he's had that elite defense. I wonder if he sees the same numbers me and you see, and that complimentary football fades a little bit and he leans more on his offense and on his all-world quarterback.
I say this fully understanding what their record is, and they are 9-1. So I understand how this question is going to sound. Do we know what the Chiefs' A game looks like? And maybe the Chiefs are not super interested in playing their A game in the regular season, and that's perfectly fine. What I would love more than anything to not come on here and say on Monday against the Carolina Panthers is that this team figures out ways to win. That's perfectly fine to say against Baltimore. That's perfectly fine to say against Cincinnati. That's perfectly fine to say against a bunch of teams in the National Football League. They should need to pull themselves out of the fire against this team and this opponent. So that's not me saying that they need to go out there and win 49-0 against Carolina, but they can't beat Carolina 24-3. They can't beat Carolina 24-10, and it is a comfortable fourth quarter. They've won 9 games. 7 of them have been one-score games, and a handful of those games, they have had to make a play late in the final 5 minutes of the games to win. You should need to do that against Carolina. So, again, I'm not saying that they need to go out there and just absolutely hammer the Carolina Panthers. But we should not be having the conversation on Monday about how they have championship DNA and how they always figure out a way to win. Not against this team. Not against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina has been the worst team in the league for the last 2+ years. They have had the number 1 overall pick. I know they didn't have it last year. They traded to the Bears, but they would have had the number 1 overall pick. They have had the number 1 overall pick in back-to-back seasons, and this year they are looking like a team that is going to pick in the top 5. They're not good. This should not be a stressful game. You are the biggest favorite on the board in Vegas. They're 11.5-point favorites. You shouldn't need the "we always figure out a way to win" speech. This isn't a game where the Chiefs should get down 10 early on, but we know that Mahomes is going to add to the legend and how many times you've been down double digits and win. You can do that in a majority of games. If you want to do that later against Cleveland, sure. You want to do that against Pittsburgh later in the season? Absolutely. But you shouldn't need that against Carolina. Just play well, and your B effort against Carolina is good enough to comfortably win this game. Can the Chiefs win a game 24-7? Can the Chiefs win a game 27-14 and Carolina gets a late touchdown to make it more respectable? This is the team that you should you don't got to look your best. You should look good against the Carolina Panthers, especially a team that lost for the first time in almost a year. You should come out mad, hot, ready to start a new streak. You should take some of that out on the Carolina Panthers. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This football season, the best place to watch the game is Johnny's Tavern. Tons of TVs, tons of fans, and cold Yingling beer. You could win big. Scan the QR code at any Johnny's Tavern to enter for a chance to win a tailgate prize pack and the grand prize. All thanks to you, Yingling. Win a hosted party at the Johnny's Tavern of your choice. Each location will have a winner, so don't miss out. Grab your friends, grab a Yingling, and get in on the action. Only at Johnny's Tavern, in partnership with 96.5 The Fan, your home for football, fun, and Yingling. Must be 21 plus to enter.
Men, we hear it all the time. A man comes in to get his erectile dysfunction treated, and very soon thereafter, he tells us that his relationship is renewed. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and you should know that ED doesn't just affect you, it also often affects your partner. They can feel undesired, unwanted, they may even feel like you don't love them anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we've successfully treated thousands of men for ED with protocols that have success rates well over 90%, which means if you're like most men, we can get you back to the guy you used to be. You could even last up to an hour or more and find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and give your partner the gift of renewed love. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
The holidays are a magical time to get engaged. At Shane Company, we're here to help you create your dream engagement ring in just 3 easy steps. Choose a setting that speaks to your style. Compare diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. Then personalize it with a decorative crown and special engraving. Or choose a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, you'll find everyday competitive prices, a no-pressure environment, and an unmatched free lifetime warranty. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Jake from State Farm. I'm winning. I finally cleaned my house, so I'm breaking out my new tropical room spray.
Keep winning and create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab me a coconut water.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent maracas smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
Hey, sports fans, if you're not calling John Anthony, you're simply missing out. To prove it, I'm releasing your Thursday night report absolutely free unrecorded message line, 1-800-244-5506. Pittsburgh, Cleveland tonight is going to be a monster game. I've got the side and total. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, plus hoops and college football. That's 5 big plays. John Anthony has you covered. I love to sweep the board. Call now. Hear him for free on a recorded message. 1-800-244-5506. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. 1-800-244-5506. You want the information? I've got it. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, plus college football, hoops, and special prop action. I love to go 5-0 with the season free. 1-800-244-5506. That's 1-800-244-5506, or go to johnanthonysports.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group. Tune in this week to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti, where they break down all the headlines in the NFL, presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on the iPhone 16 Pro.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings, North Avenue and 71 Highway in Belton, Friday, November 22nd. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. Nothing easier to enjoy than that.
The election is finally over. Now you can get the cash you need. Imagine what you could do with $50,000. Pay off credit cards, do home improvements, or even pay off auto loans. Golden Oak's mortgage rate is 5.25%. There's no out-of-pocket costs, so call today and make no payments until next year. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a crash on the southeast side of the metro, westbound 50 highway to westbound 470. We are seeing traffic stacking up behind that. And a multi-car crash northbound 35 just past Shawnee Mission Parkway, off to the shoulder, but again, still seeing slowdowns. And another multi-car crash westbound 435 just past Quivira. That's on the right shoulder, but we are still seeing brake lights there too. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
Think about how the Chiefs developed their starting quarterback. They spent the first-round pick on him. He was not rushed in any way. They let him take an entire year of sitting back and learning defenses. And then when he became a starter, they put a lot around him. They gave him a pretty good offensive line. They gave him one of the top 5 running backs in the National Football League. He had 2 future Hall of Famers to throw the ball to, and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. They went out and they got Sammy Watkins. Like the Chiefs, they went out and they did things the right way. They should be the blueprint for how you want to develop a young quarterback, that they were able to develop Patrick Mahomes and bring him along at their own pace and their own timetable. And look at the dividends. It worked. It paid off. He's the best quarterback of his generation. And now fast forward to Bryce Young. Now, you were looking at a team in the Carolina Panthers that have done things almost the exact opposite way of Kansas City and have failed very spectacularly at every single step. They have had multiple head coaches in the year and a half that he has been on the team. They've had multiple offensive coordinators in the year and a half that he's been on the team. Their organization got sold during this time. It has just been an absolute disaster from day one, and none of us think that he's even going to be given a third year with the Carolina Panthers. Now, I'm not telling you that Bryce Young is good, but I do know that the infrastructure that was created in Carolina would have never let us see that. A whole lot of quarterbacks would have failed in that scenario. Now, yes, there are some quarterbacks that could have risen above it, sure. There are some quarterbacks that they become the situation. But I think we know now with a lot of different quarterbacks, like any plant, if you water it and treat it correctly, that plant can grow. I don't think that they've treated Bryce Young properly. I don't think that Brock Purdy would have success there. No, Brock Purdy got drafted to a good situation. He's turned into a good quarterback. Look at Jared Goff. Would Jared Goff have had success if he got drafted by Carolina? But no, look, Jared Goff can be pretty good. Would Jalen Hurts have worked if he had been drafted by the Carolina Panthers? I'm not sure that if he would have. So again, I'm not telling you that Bryce Young is going to go somewhere else and he's going to be some magnificent starting quarterback in the league. But what I do know is he was given no chance of success with the foundation that they created in Carolina. None. He was never going to be a successful NFL quarterback. Not with that ownership group, not with the turnover that they have, not with the weapons and the parts that they have around him. He was never going to have success. I actually don't think he's been that bad the last couple of starts for them. I mean, it's all relative to where he was before, but Bryce Young, to me, seems like a guy that Carolina's going to move on. They're going to draft another quarterback. And if Bryce Young goes to the right team, the right situation, the right scenario, I think he can have a lot of success. You want to know where I think Bryce Young actually could work? I think he should go to Miami. I think Bryce Young in Miami is Tua's backup, and you put him in that offense, and he's with Mike McDaniel. I think that's an offense that he could have a lot of success in, and I think that's an environment that he could really grow in. That's a team that can run the ball, a team that has weapons on the outside, a team that he could get a shot because of Tua's health and how finicky that can be at times. I think that Miami actually makes a lot of sense for Bryce Young next year, and an organization that is probably looking for a good, capable backup if something happens with Tua. I think taking a flyer on Bryce Young is not the worst thing that the Dolphins could do this offseason.
I do feel bad for Bryce Young. Now, I do want to point out this show was ahead of the curve saying don't draft the 5'9" quarterback, draft the 6-foot quarterback when it comes to C.J. Stroud, but that's neither here nor there. But Bryce Young got kind of put into an unwinnable situation. Because the Panthers had hemorrhaged so much to go up and get him, they traded away their top wide receiver. They traded away a ton of draft capital. It was essentially like they added Bryce Young, and like their cap situation and their roster was handcuffed as if Bryce Young was on a mega deal, even though he was in fact not on a mega deal because they had given up so much assets to go get him. They then tried to make it work with Frank Reich. Frank Reich is just, he retired basically mid-season. It was never going to work with Frank Reich, and that ownership does a bad job. They made him the starter immediately. They gave him basically Adam Thielen to throw the ball to. it was an unwinnable situation, but I feel bad for Bryce in the fact that he was given a no-win situation, he didn't win, and now his team, his coach, his ownership group, and most NFL fans at large are, hey, the Panthers got to restart. It's broken beyond repair. I think the Panthers will continue to chase their tail if they don't invest in helping their quarterback. Their O-line, especially the interior O-line, stinks. Very bad this year. Xavier Legette has not been great yet, but he's at least a piece. Tommy Tremble is a guy I know Bink liked out of the draft. He's been okay for them. There are some semblances of, okay, that might work, but me and you both think the Panthers are going to eject at season's end, and they're going to end up in the same spot over and over again. It's not all Bryce's fault.
No, 100%. And maybe Bryce was just never going to be set up for long-term success because of just how small he is. Bryce Young, I'm looking at right now with his ESPN page, he is 5'10", 200 pounds. For comparison, Bo Nix is 6'2", 220. It's a drastic difference in terms of size. But Bo Nix went to a situation that I don't think that the Broncos have the most talent in the world. But you know what? He has been drafted to a stable organization and a stable offense. You've got Sean Payton, who we know can get the most out of him, and he has set Bo Nix up for a lot of success. Bo Nix is completing 65% of his passes as a quarterback. Bryce Young right now, his completion percentage, it's 60%. So you've added a lot of easy passes for Bo Nix, and you've given him some decent parts around him that you expect to grow a little bit. And I think there's a good chance that Bo Nix can win Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though he was not a quarterback that was super highly touted and you thought was going to come into the league day one and really take the league on fire. But he's been pretty good. 14 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. He's probably going to throw for 3,500 yards, throw 20 touchdown passes in his first year as an NFL quarterback. Bo Nix has been more than capable this season. I think that Bryce Young had a chance to be that player. I just don't think he got picked to the right team. So now, as he's going to be maybe a free agent, maybe he gets outright released or a trade, I'm trying to angle myself to a team and a coach that has shown an ability to maximize my ability and who I am as a player. And that's why I think Mike McDaniel in Miami just makes a lot of sense. For him to go there as a backup. I don't see Bryce Young being a starter next year anywhere in the league. Like, I don't think Tennessee's taking him and he's going to start for them. He's probably going to have to sit kind of like Sam Darnold and kind of learn a little bit and see what he can do in 2026. So I think finding the right situation is going to be imperative for him, and we'll see if he finds it. He is going to be starting on Sunday against Kansas City. Bryce Young has been one of the bottom 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League since he's got here. In his career, he has 15 touchdowns, has 16 interceptions. He is completing below 60%. He has a quarterback rating of 72.2. He has been bad as the starting quarterback as the Carolina Panthers. Coming up next, I want to read a story to you guys about Jackson County, which explains why we are in the situation that we're in. I'll explain. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a crash on the southeast side of the metro, westbound 50 highway to westbound 470. We are seeing traffic stacking up behind that. And a multi-car crash northbound 35 just past Shawnee Mission Parkway, off to the shoulder, but again, still seeing slowdowns. And another multi-car crash westbound 435 just past Quivira. That's on the right shoulder, but we are still seeing brake lights there too. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Hey, it's Carrington here. Let me tell you guys about my friends at Gates Barbecue. With 5 locations around town, you are never too far away from that classic barbecue taste. And you know that Gates has its staples on the menu: the beef on bun, the mixed plate, maybe a presidential platter. But they're changing things up a little bit, and they're adding some things. So make sure the next time you're there that you get the burnt mac. You get some delicious mac and cheese topped with some Gates burnt in. They also have the split Gates, so you can get their fries also with a little bit of onion rings. They also have the chicken link on a hoagie bun. That's another new item, but they still got your favorites. So whether you're stopping in for lunch to go get the nooner, maybe you're stopping in and getting a little bit of dinner, maybe you're having some holiday festivities. My mom's birthday is this weekend. She asked me to bring some food. You guys know I can't cook the food, so you know when I'm going to Gates, I'm getting the platter, I'm bringing it, and everybody better be happy with what I got. It's also Christmas time coming up, so make sure that you get your stocking stuffers from Gates. Make sure you get some sauce, some seasonings. Make sure you get some gift cards. You can never go wrong with giving somebody a great gift card as a gift. I'm here to help you guys. I want you to get some great Christmas gifts. I also want you to get some of the best barbecue in town, and you know where that is. Gates Barbecue.
The difference between real custom jewelry at House of Diamonds and so-called custom jewelry elsewhere is like the difference between painting on a blank canvas versus paint by numbers. This is Gene at House of Diamonds. In our store, you don't pick from a collection of designs. Choose from a list of options. Send it off to who knows where for 6 weeks to be tweaked and call it custom. At House of Diamonds, you and we together design and create a one-of-a-kind custom ring, pendant, earrings, or necklace. And since 100% of the work from start to finish is done right here in our shop, we can deliver real custom jewelry and can back it with a double lifetime warranty instead of a disclaimer. One-of-a-kind, real custom jewelry, handcrafted just for you, only at House of Diamonds. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira. And online at mybigrock.com.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
All right. When it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Thursday Night Football, we got the Steelers taking on the Cleveland Browns. How about you build out a quick same-game parlay? An anytime touchdown for George Pickens. An anytime touchdown for Jerry Jeudy. And over on the rushing yards for Najee Harris. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Looking to start your new career now? Well, how about a career in IT in as little as 4 months over at our friends at Centric?
A new career by the time the big game is over in February. Just go to Centric.com and talk to our friend Russ Mondry. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Listen to the Chiefs and Panthers game on Sunday with pregame starting at 9, kickoff at noon with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2. Kansas City in Odyssey Sports Station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. I'm usually in a great mood. I'm not really in a great mood right now. Now, it's nothing that you guys have done. It's nothing that Rob has done. I would say it's nothing that I've done either. I'm fine. I read a story today and it upset me. It frustrated me. It upset me because we were talking about this with the Jets, and I think a lot of it applies to the Giants. If you want to know why the Giants are the Giants, think about how they've handled their last two quarterbacks. Think about the way that they handled Eli Manning's ending in New York. Think about how they're currently handling Daniel Jones. Now, I'm not here telling you that Daniel Jones is good, but they benched him knowing that his contract is guaranteed and there's some incentives. We don't have to get too deep into Daniel Jones' contract. Today, they had him playing safety on the scout team. Yes, they had Daniel Jones playing safety for their scout team. Just ridiculous. Then their number 2 quarterback, they don't want to play him because he'll hit certain contract incentives, so they don't want to pay him. It's a mess. It explains why the Giants are the Giants. The New York Jets. Think about all the stories that we read about the Jets throughout the season. It's been nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Your quarterback hated one of the wide receivers, didn't want to throw him the ball anymore. They then traded that guy. They then traded for another guy who was waiting. It's been a mess. They fired the head coach. They changed offensive play callers. They fired the general managers. It's been a mess in New York with both of the football teams. Well, you guys might remember, about 6-7 months ago, we had a vote here in Jackson County, and the thing failed pretty gloriously. Now, I understand that you guys wanted to blame a lot of different people. That's usually what happens when you lose. You guys were blaming KC tenants and blaming all these people. Well, you know what? More and more as we get more of this information, the blame might just firmly fall on the people of Jackson County. There is a story right now in the Kansas City Star that says Jackson County might have to forfeit $70 million because officials can't agree on how to spend it. The story then starts, it's embarrassing, a travesty, an act of political gamesmanship that could put Jackson County at the risk of having to return $70 million back to the federal government. So a portion of the Jackson County legislature, they are simply not showing up to the meetings to discuss how to spend the money. Now, we don't got to get too deep into the politics here, and I'm not even going to pretend to know all of the ins and outs of this, but would you guys guess who's at the middle of this confrontation in the Jackson County legislature? Just take one guess. Well, one of the individuals is Frank White because, of course. And the other person is Manny Abarca, whose name always seems to come up, and it never comes up in a very positive tone and light. So I'm reading it. They are having meetings about how to spend the money. And Manny Abarca has basically just put together a group of people that are protesting, showing up to the meetings. Ain't that your job? That's your job, right? To show up to the meetings. Not asking you to do a whole bunch. You can be there, can't you? Only reason we're talking about this is this explains why Jackson County is having such a difficult time in figuring out the Chiefs and the Royals. This is why. This is why the campaign was run the way that it was run, the vote was handled the way that it was handled, why the Chiefs, to me, seem like they can't wait to get away from these individuals. The Royals are really doing everything in their power to try to make it work, I think. The Chiefs, I don't think they're that hell-bent on making it work. I think they find the people of Jackson County to be very difficult to work with and find it so much easier to deal with the people over there in Johnson County. I mean, they're hanging out with the people at Johnson County and going to dinners and having meetings, and, it just seems like they're getting along. Jackson County, you guys are going to blow this. I just feel it. I don't want to be negative, but you guys have given me no reason to trust your leadership and your ability to get this thing to the end. You have given me no reason to trust that you guys can handle to get this thing across the finish line. We are talking about billions of dollars of commerce that could be switched from the Jackson County side to the Johnson County side and the Wyandotte County side, and you guys are running like a chicken with your head cut off. It's embarrassing. I want to share with you guys a text that I got earlier today from a dear friend of mine who is very plugged in local politics. And he sent me a text that said, Carrington, do you see what I meant about Manny Abarca a long time ago? He's a very unserious guy and probably the worst person to have at a time like this when we are trying to keep the Chiefs and the Royals. And this is why Mayor Q and the city want to go around them. We have heard from enough people on and off the record that if this comes down to Jackson County and their ability to get on the same page and get this thing done, it will never be done. My confidence in their ability to keep both of the teams is at a low. I think they want to keep the Royals, and I think the Royals want to be there. I don't think the Chiefs feel the same way about it. I think the Chiefs have made it pretty clear they're going to go where they think the best deal is. And if the best deal is in Jackson County, I mean, sure, we'll stay here. If you guys want to build us a brand new stadium or give us all this money for the renovation, we will happily take it. But it doesn't sound like Jackson County has their ducks in a row nearly to the way that Kansas does. They are a legitimate threat. And you guys know I like Mayor Q, friend of the show. I would consider him a personal friend of mine. All that kumbaya stuff that you were talking about, how, you know, we agreed to not pull businesses from the other side and we're one big region and we're one big happy family. Only one side feels that way. That is not the way that Kansas feels. Kansas feels like, it's anybody's ball game. If they're a free agent, we listening. They don't follow the code. You know the code. Well, hey, I'm not going to date my boy's girl. No, the code only works if both parties agree on the code. Kansas does not agree to the code. They are making their own code. It is Operation Take Your Teams. That's what it sounds like to me. We're going to get the money together. We're going to get everybody in legislation on the same side, and we are coming to take the Chiefs and the Royals from you. We're sorry you feel this way. So I don't know who needs to receive this message in the Jackson County legislature, but I would tell you to knock it off because you guys are fumbling at, it seems like every turn. I don't know how you guys have helped our lives really in any capacity. Property taxes all messed up. The stadium's all messed up. The government trying to give you $70 million. You can't show up to meetings. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. This is why people hate politicians. This is why. This story, this headline right here, the way that they've operated in 2024 is example number one. Not two, not even 1B. It is example number one why people hate politicians. It has been a clown show for the people in Jackson County.
I don't know the Chiefs are leaving. It is my gut the Chiefs are leaving to the Kansas side. But you know what the Kansas side has, the Missouri side doesn't? The top officials all the way down are all in lockstep. They go from the governor to the state senate to local government to local mayors to local representatives to, you know, whatever city, KCK, Johnson County, whatever, everyone all the way down the line is on the same page. That is not the case in Missouri. The governor and the state senate might not see eye to eye. The state senate and the local government might see eye to eye. The mayor and the local county commissioner definitely don't see eye to eye on some things. And then you got all sorts of legal maneuverings and all sorts of deals being done. I think more and more, as we get away from the vote and I learn more about Jackson County, it was not just, hey, the Royals failed to give us a succinct plan. It is very possible that every succinct plan they had got butchered by the people over at Jackson County, which is why we got 5 different versions of a plan, because it wouldn't stun me if they were somehow problematic.
Maybe I'm speaking out of turn by saying this, but I don't feel like I am. I don't think that Manny Abarca and Frank White can work together. I don't have any reason to I don't know how anyone could refute that based on the information that we know. I think it was pretty clear that Manny Abarca was running an anti-Frank White campaign through our morning show. I think that was very obvious while all of this was going on. So if you clearly don't like your boss or superior or coworker or whatever their relationship is, I don't know how you tackle big ideas and work together to better the lives of the people in Jackson County. You can't show up to meetings. You have organized a revolt. You have organized a protest. How are you guys supposed to work together on things? You guys aren't working together on this $70 million. You're not working together for the stadium. You guys didn't work together for the property taxes. What are you guys working together on? How are you two individuals being in office and being in power? How is it benefiting the people of Jackson County? Because right now I can tell you what you haven't been doing. I really struggle to find out what you have been doing. as the people that run things in Jackson County. Again, it's embarrassing. There should never be a headline in your local newspaper. Never be a headline. And the first two sentences are, "It was an embarrassment, it was a travesty," and right above those words, it's your picture as a politician. You failed. You failed everybody that you took an oath that you were supposed to enrich their lives, and you have been doing the exact opposite. One of you needs to step down. I'm sorry. You guys can't work together. That's obvious. Oil and water, cats and dogs, you guys do not mix. You guys are not cohesively working together for the best interests of the people in Jackson County. And there's big issues and big things coming to Jackson County in the next couple of years. You guys are supposed to be hosting the World Cup. We're trying to get the streetcar. There's so many things happening in Jackson County, and you can't get on the same page? Embarrassing. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about them anymore.
I mean, I was going to point out, you know who loves those two? Everyone who lives in Kansas. We're a big fan.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We can't get enough.
Snake oil salesman we got running things in Jackson County. That's who we got. Just snake oil salesman.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
Carrington, the hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, Carrington, the top story of the day in Kansas City is not the Kansas City Chiefs game this weekend, because they're not even playing an NFL opponent. They're playing someone else.
No, they're playing an NFL opponent. We don't have to do that to Carolina. Carolina is an NFL opponent. They're just not a good NFL opponent. Now, I know that the Chiefs have conditioned you that the score doesn't matter, that it doesn't matter if you blow teams out, this isn't college football. I know they've conditioned you that way because every game is close going into the fourth quarter. I don't think that the Chiefs need to go out there and pummel Carolina. But wouldn't it feel good to feel that the Chiefs played well on Sunday? When's the last time that you came away thinking, man, Kansas City really played well? All three phases really dominated, controlled the game. They really showed that they're a Super Bowl contending team. I don't want to have to come up with the open of how another speech of how the Chiefs just find a way to win. I'm sure we'll have that speech again. I don't mind having that against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas Day or against Houston a couple days before that. Sometimes you need that speech. Sometimes it's just win. I want to see the Chiefs play well and win. I'd love to see a 23-10 win where it's a comfortable fourth quarter. When was the last time that the Chiefs gave you a comfortable fourth quarter? If you can't do it in the game in which you are an 11.5-point favorite, they are the biggest favorite on the board this weekend in the National Football League. If you can't play well and have a comfortable fourth quarter against Carolina, when is it going to happen? Because after this, you got Black Friday against the Raiders. You got a Chargers team that is going to be a playoff team. You got 3 games in 10 days. Are we just not going to have a game this season where we feel like the Chiefs play an A game? I like to see what an A game looks like from the 2024 Chiefs. I don't know if we've seen it yet.
Number 2.
Well, Carrington, earlier today, Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo met with the media, and he said he noticed some uncharacteristic mistakes that cost the team in their game in Buffalo. Specifically, they were no good on third downs.
The one thing that is concerning to me is that we need to win more third downs. Last week, in prior games, there has been games where the number of third downs has been low. And they've been in the 3 to 4 to 5 range. We were able to get them in 11 3rd and 6 pluses. You got to win more of those, and we didn't. I got to look at what I'm calling. We got to look at what we're doing, and there were some of those mistakes that we're talking about were on those particular plays.
Now, I heard an afternoon show host on 96.5 The Fan say something eerily similar, but outside of giving him credit, Carrington, is it that simple? Fix the third down problems, and the defense is back, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think that football is really simple. Like, I understand that we spend a lot of time talking about other things and we make sports more complex than it needs to be, but there's usually a pretty simple formula on how to win football games. Win third downs, get to the quarterback, win the turnover differential. The Chiefs didn't do those things on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. There was a critical third down in the game where they had Buffalo for a 3rd and 9 from the Chiefs' 44-yard line with less than 5 minutes to go. You had to get a stop there. The Chiefs didn't get a stop. You then had a 4th and 2, 5 plays later, and you couldn't get off the field, and Josh Allen scored a touchdown. The Chiefs' defense has won them a lot of games over the past 2 years. I think the Chiefs' defense lost them the game on Sunday. I think the Chiefs' defense has been leaking oil a little bit for the last couple of weeks, and it's now time to get back to the basics, getting after the other team's quarterback. We're talking about a team that is currently 26th in sacks. We're talking about a team that has taken some injuries in the secondary, and that secondary room isn't as good. I think they need to develop one of those 3 other options at corner opposite Trent McDuffie. So whether it's Joshua Williams getting a shot, he didn't play a single snap on Sunday, whether it's Christian Roland Wallace getting more of an opportunity or Najee Johnson. But developing that room, getting Charles Omenihu back and getting back to pressure and getting after the quarterback. This was a team last year that was 2nd in sacks behind the Baltimore Ravens. They are currently 26th in the National Football League. I don't got to tell you guys, that is a big drop-off.
Number 3.
Well, Carrington, let's talk about Thursday Night Football tonight on Amazon Prime. One of the actually watchable games this weekend in the National Football League. It is the Cleveland Browns hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh, of course, part of the team making a push to try to be the 1 seed in the AFC. It is supposed to be wet, nasty weather in Cleveland tonight. Carrington, we expect a slobber knocker, as you said earlier, a slugfest, a rock fight. Pick your analogy. Do you think the weather and the circumstances in the short week could actually lead to an upset tonight on Thursday Night Football?
You know what? I do. I think that Cleveland's going to pull off the upset today. Let me give you some numbers. Pittsburgh, under Mike Tomlin, they are 2-8 on the road on Thursday Night Football, and they average 19.7 points per game. Pittsburgh has lost 6 of their last 7 road games on Thursday Night Football. This is a really, really difficult spot. You played Baltimore on Sunday. We know that that's a tough physical team that you always have tough battles against. You now turn around on a short week and you go on the road for Thursday Night Football against Cleveland, a team that you obviously know very well in the division. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. This is what you guys tell me is football weather. I think this is a real dangerous spot for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, a team that I'm really coming around on and I think deserves to be treated and talked about like a Super Bowl contending team. So this is when the schedule intensity was going to pick up for Pittsburgh. They went on the road and they beat the Washington Commanders. They beat Baltimore on Sunday. And now in back-to-back weeks, you go on the road to the other 2 teams in your division. You go on the road to play Cleveland, and you go on the road to play Cincinnati, a team that is very much still holding on for dear life in the playoff race. Can you come out of this game unscathed? And if you do that, hey, you have earned a lot of people's respect. If you beat Baltimore and then you turn around and go on the road in the division in a short week and win, and you're 2-0, I think people have to give Pittsburgh a lot of credit. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be a well-played game, but I don't think that matters in this game. I think you just got to figure out a way to get a dub. You got to figure out a way to go to Cleveland, overcome the elements, and come back home with the win. I don't think Pittsburgh does that today. I think that Cleveland is pulling off the upset. I would take Cleveland and the 3.5 points. But if you want to make yourself a little bit of money, I actually would take them on the money line plus 164. I think Cleveland pulls off the upset later today.
I understand your logic, and I think your logic is actually very sound as to why Pittsburgh could struggle tonight. And the numbers back that up. But what we expect on Amazon Prime tonight is wet, old school, in the wind and the rain football. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. This is what Tom Osborne built Nebraska on. Just physicality, dominating the line. You're going to win a game ugly. 13-3 type of mentality. Bring your lunch pail. I can do these all day. Do you know what kind of team embodies what I just discussed? The Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have won not one game, but 2 games this season that they didn't score a touchdown in. Do you know how hard that is to do in modern football, to win a game without scoring a touchdown? It ain't easy. It's very difficult. They've done it twice, and they've done it twice against playoff teams. They beat the Falcons on the road, no touchdowns. They beat the Ravens at home last week, no touchdowns. I think the stats and all the logic points to what you're saying, but man, oh man, Mike Tomlin in a bring your lunch pail to work kind of game, this seems like where he might wear shorts and a t-shirt to show how tough he is and how tough his team is. This is where he thrives.
I did see a stat earlier today, and I want to play the audio for you guys. I had absolutely no clue that this was the case, but it does make sense. I mean, Jameis played for New Orleans. He also played for Tampa Bay in the NFC South. So I don't know if there's been a whole lot of opportunities for this to be the case, but this is Jameis's first cold weather game in the National Football League.
We are going to witness history tonight. I mean, Al may not wear a tie. It's going to be too cold, but the history is going to be, this will be the first game, Pat, that Jameis Winston has played in temperatures below 40 degrees in his NFL career.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
No.
How about that?
I did not know that. Obviously, he's down at Tampa. He's down in New Orleans, comes up to Cleveland this year. You would think one of those teams would have had a game, though, against some North opponent late in the season. They have not. How would Jameis handle it, I wonder?
Yeah, because even going back to college, you wonder how many he played with at Florida State.
None. Probably none.
Yeah.
The reason we measure hands at the combine on quarterbacks is because of nights like tonight. You know, when you have small hands, it maybe becomes difficult to handle a slippery football. And Jameis had really small hands coming out of college. So this will be a challenge for him against a very good Pittsburgh front. And his ability to handle a wet football in the conditions that we're going to face tonight. It'll be great football. It'll be fun to watch.
So that was Michael Lombardi. He was on the Pat McAfee show earlier today talking about Thursday Night Football. I do think it's going to be a good game. It's actually one of the better games that we have this weekend in the National Football League. Last thing here before we talk a little bit of college football coming up after the break. So with the new television deal and contracts in the National Football League, they now have the ability late in the season to flex every national televised game. We know that they can flex Sunday Night Football. They've been doing that for quite some time. They now have the ability to do that on Monday and Thursday night. So there is a deadline, though. The NFL has until tomorrow to decide if they want to flex Week 16 Thursday Night Football. That game is between the Browns and the Bengals. It would need to be approved, obviously, but it will be. And this will be the first game that's ever been flexed on Thursday Night Football. A game that is a popular choice is going to be the Broncos and the Chargers. That is going to be moved to the top of the list. If you have the ability to flex Thursday Night Football, I don't know why you wouldn't use it in this instance. Cleveland is not making the postseason, and right now we're talking about a Bengals team that is 4-7. So the Bengals are holding on for dear life. The Broncos look like a playoff team, and the Chargers, in my mind, are going to be a playoff team, and it's also a game in the division. So we're talking about it's going to be easier. You've played this team early in the year. You're familiar with these teams. So it's in the same vein as Browns and Bengals, a divisional opponent, and the game has far more impact than the other one. If you as a league and as a players association have approved the ability to flex Thursday Night Football, why would you not flex Browns and Bengals out of the way for Broncos and Chargers? So that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on the next 24 hours, but the league has to make a decision tomorrow. If you're not moving Browns and Bengals out, then Thursday Night Football doesn't have flexing. Then you have just determined that we're going to roll with whatever we have for Thursday Night Football, because it is no question what the superior game would be between those two. It is Broncos and Chargers. That game should be on Thursday Night Football. Coming up, let's talk a little bit of college football. KU is actually involved in one of the most important games of the weekend. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It's time to start a new week in the NFL. Let's get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Let's build a quick same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take the Steelers plus the points. I'm also going to take the over for Russell Wilson passing yards. I'm also going to take Najee Harris to score an anytime touchdown. If you want to make this same-game parlay or build your own, All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. Don't miss a second of the NFL action with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus pass, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Not too long ago, I had to drop about $800 to $1,000 on new brakes for my car. I've talked about my vehicle. It has quite a few miles on it at this point, and I know I'm spending a lot of money on maintenance. That's the reality of a used vehicle. It's the reality of not having a newer vehicle under 40,000 miles. That's why you got to think about the total cost of ownership, whether it's the maintenance, whether it's the insurance, whether it's any other factor that goes into owning a vehicle, gasoline, all of it matters, and that's where Max Motors comes in. One, they're going to walk you through exactly what that total cost of ownership is going to be, not just flash the straight-out monthly payment and what that is like some other dealers do out there. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. For example, a new 2024 Ram 1500's up to $18,000 off MSRP. Stock number 90052. And Max Motors is just down the street. In fact, 7 minutes from the Grandview Triangle at 192 miles an hour. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading property, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley has 0% financing for 48 months on new cant skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop by any Foley Equipment location today or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com?
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
There's a stalled car blocking traffic on the southeast side of the metro, eastbound 470 to Blue Ridge Boulevard, 49 highway. Got a 2-car crash closing the center lane, southbound 35 just past Mission Road. And another multi-car crash, though it is off to the shoulder, westbound 435 past Quivira. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Let me pass some news to you guys that happened during the commercial break. Aaron Judge has been unanimously voted as the MVP for the American League. Congratulations to Aaron Judge. Bobby Wood Jr. got every second place vote, so there are 30 votes available. All 30 first place votes went to Aaron Judge. All 30 second place votes went to Bobby Wood Jr. Juan Soto came in second place this year for American League MVP. He's certainly going to get an absolute bag in free agency. Gunnar Henderson came in fourth place, and Jose Ramirez came in fifth place for the American League Cy Young, kind of what we expected. I think Aaron Judge was certainly deserving of being the American League MVP, and I think Bobby certainly deserved to be second in MVP voting. Let me ask you this question, Rob. I'll throw this out there. What do you think the higher number is going to be? Do you think it's Josh Allen's Super Bowl appearances or Bobby Wood Jr. American League MVP awards?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
That's why I'm here.
The homer in me wants to take Bobby Witt, just for the sake of it. I mean, the fact that Bobby's 23, 24, Bobby is very young and basically had a great season, but was short of a transcendent season from Judge from being MVP right now. Not a lot of guys are that close to MVP at 25 and fall off. So I'll take Witt. Give me Witt by a hair.
Yeah, my worry with Witt would be kind of what we saw this year. I mean, Bobby Witt was amazing this year, but is there always going to be a superstar player that plays in a big market that just has a better track towards the MVP? Like, what would you need to do to be voted as the American League MVP to play for the Kansas City Royals? Because he came pretty close, right? He came in second place. I mean, not a single voter thought that he was the MVP this year in a year that he was pretty good, and a lot of you would argue that he was a more well-rounded player than Aaron Judge. So what kind of season would he have to put together to win MVP in Kansas City? So great year by Bobby Wood Jr., great year as well from Aaron Judge. Congratulations to both of them as they both won, Aaron Judge won American League MVP. So earlier today, we had Michael Swain on the show. He covers the Jayhawks, and I did not know this, so that's my fault. Jaylen Daniels has an opportunity to come back to play at Kansas. He has one more year left of eligibility, and I asked Michael Swain earlier if he thought that Jaylen Daniels was going to return.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. You know, here's the issue. In this day and age, it's really hard to say anything definitive with college football because I could come on here and say, yes, I think Jaylen Daniels is going to come back. If you made me pick right now, I'd say, yeah, I think he probably will be back. But there are a lot of different circumstances in the world of college football right now that can sway someone's decision. And for Jaylen, he is a part of this senior class. Yes, I know he's not technically a senior, right? He's one more year, but like you look at this class, you know, your Luke Grimms, your Quentin Skinners, your Devin Neals, right? These have been his buddies for years, and they've grown up together in the program. And so there's a question there of all your friends leave. Do you want to go try and do a Will Howard and go get a bag and go play at a top-tier college football program potentially that's going to be looking for a one-year quarterback to maybe be a stopgap until a young player comes through? That, you know, those are big questions. So again, right now, if you made me pick, I think I would say Jaylen is back at Kansas next year. But again, until you see the graphic or that video from the player saying he's back and the portal is closed, you know, you really can't say anything is ever 100% certain.
This is a really intriguing question to me because I see both sides of things. If Jaylen Daniels made the decision that I've played 5 years of college football at KU and I want to see where else I can go, I think most people would understand that. If Jaylen Daniels decided to come back next year at KU and has some unfinished business, that also would make a lot of sense to me if he wants to finish what he started at KU. If you're looking at his numbers, he is not the same quarterback pre-injury. He was having a really good start to 2023. He had a pretty good year in 2022, and he has been noticeably declined from that level of production. But he is going to be a very valued quarterback in the transfer market. He has 31 starts in his career. He has played well for the most part in his college football career, and we already know about the scarcity of the position. So it's not like Jaylen Daniels will have a shortage of options at the end of this season. What do you think happens, Rob? You're a KU fan. What do you think happens at the end of the year? Do you think Jaylen Daniels returns to KU?
So I don't want to not answer your question. That's not fair by me. But I think how the season ends really matters. Because if KU can continue to pull off these miraculous wins and somehow end a 6-6 bowl team, then I think as a KU fan, he would have done everything for the program, and a reset is coming next year because this Saturday, if they have 30-plus seniors playing their final game for Kansas, and next year is going to be a young team that they're going to have to go through some growing pains with, and it might be better for him to walk off into the sunset and KU get to experience those growing pains with a redshirt freshman quarterback in Isaiah Marshall. Similar to how K-State said, "We appreciate your service. Thank you so much," to Will Howard, but told him we need to make the next step for our program. That's kind of how I think KU will do it if they make a bowl game. But if not, if they fail to make a bowl game, do you maybe settle down and not have some of those growing pains if you do have Jaylen on the team? If some of those bumps and bruises you experience with the young roster are settled down by having a guy like Jaylen? The question becomes, can you hold on to the player that you think is next up in Isaiah Marshall? So I think how the season ends really matters here. The trend line they are on is I think he's goes off into the sunset, whether it be the pros or into the portal with all his buddies who he came into the program with. But if they go 0-2 or 1-1 their next ones and Lance can convince them, I want you to be the guy who restarts it again, I could see a scenario where he returns to Kansas.
I think there's reasons for this, but I think that KU Colorado is the most intriguing local game this weekend. Now, a lot of that is due to the Chiefs and who they're playing. They're not playing a divisional opponent. They're not playing a team in the AFC. They're not even playing a good team. So I think some of it is related to that. I think some of it is the intrigue in Colorado. They have been one of the more interesting stories the past couple of seasons, and they're still in line for the college football playoff. So this game has big implications. But it also is a testament to how KU was played since their bye week. Since they had their bye week and they played Houston at Arrowhead, they have been a completely different team. They had the ball late with an opportunity to win in Manhattan. They beat BYU. They beat Iowa State. They have a chance of winning this game against Colorado and continuing to really turn over the college football playoff. If the Big 12 only gets one team in the college football playoff, the team they should thank is KU, because KU will have been the reason why they only got one team. BYU was undefeated until they played KU. Iowa State still had an opportunity to turn things around until they played KU. Their best chance right now is Colorado. They have been a very good team the last 2 months. Since losing that game to Nebraska, they have been one of the better stories in college football. But they're going into a really dangerous and tough spot. I do not care what KU's record is. They have played like a top 25 team for the last month. And these are the kind of games that teams like Colorado usually slip up in. You maybe look past KU. You've been reading your press clippings. You guys are talking about the Heisman Trophy and making announcements and recruiting. This is where if you take your eye off the ball just a bit, you will end up losing to KU 31-27, and you will find yourself in the cold when it comes to the college football playoff. I think it's actually one of the most intriguing games of the weekend in college football. The big game is Indiana against Ohio State. That's the big game for the weekend. You could very well convince me that this is the second best game on the college football schedule. Colorado coming to Arrowhead to take on KU. I think it is a really, really intriguing matchup. Coming up, we'll get back to Thursday Night Football. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Let me tell you guys about one of my guilty pleasures during the football season. It's eating some chips, having some wings, a little veggies, and having your favorite dips while you're watching football. And I got a new dip to tell you guys about. Daisy Sour Cream has come out with the French onion and ranch dip. It's a game changer. These are as good as any homemade dip that you could try. Real herbs, real spices, and ingredients that you'd only find in your kitchen. I highly suggest the French dip or the creamy ranch dip. That's perfect for any game day watch party.
Winchester at Lake City Army Ammunition Plant in Independence is the largest manufacturer of small caliber ammunition for the U.S. military. They're hiring technicians starting at $26.72 an hour with a $1,000 hiring bonus. Excellent day one benefits include medical, dental, educational support, paid time off, and company retirement contributions up to 8%. Join Winchester and serve the U.S. warfighter. It's more than a job. It's a mission. Apply at winchester.com/careers.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You guys about my friends at Gates Barbecue with 5 locations around town. You are never too far away from that classic. Gates has its staples on the menu. The beef on bun, the mixed plate, maybe a presidential platter. But they're changing things up a little bit and they're adding some things. So make sure the next time you're there that you get the burnt mac. You get some delicious mac and cheese topped with some Gates burnt in. They also have the split Gates. So you can get their fries also with a little bit of onion rings. They also have the chicken link on a hoagie bun. That's another new item, but they still got your favorites. So whether you're stopping in for lunch to go get the nooner, maybe you're stopping in and getting a little bit of dinner, maybe you're having some holiday festivities. My mom's birthday is this weekend. She asked me to bring some food. You guys know I can't cook the food, so you know when I'm going to Gates, I'm getting the platter, I'm bringing it, and everybody better be happy with what I got. It's also Christmas time coming up, so make sure that you get your stocking stuffers from Gates. Make sure you get some sauce, some seasonings. Make sure you get some gift cards. You can never go wrong with giving somebody a great gift card as a gift. I'm here to help you guys. I want you to get some great Christmas gifts. I also want you to get some of the best barbecue in town, and you know where that is. Gates Barbecue.
Hey, sports fans, if you're not calling John Anthony, you're simply missing out. To prove it, I'm releasing your Thursday night report absolutely free unrecorded message line, 1-800-244-5506. Pittsburgh, Cleveland tonight is going to be a monster game. I've got the side and total. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, plus hoops and college football. That's 5 big plays. John Anthony has you covered. I love to sweep the board. Call now, hear him for free on a recorded message, 1-800-244-5506. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread, 1-800-244-5506. You want the information? I've got it. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, plus college football, hoops, and special prop action. I love to go 5-0 the season free. 1-800-244-5506. That's 1-800-244-5506, or go to johnanthonysports.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group. Men, it's the holidays, a time of love and joy. But if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, the season can be tough on you. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you and your partner are experiencing struggles because of ED, change it up this year. Give the best gift you can give to the one you love by treating your ED and restoring your relationship. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts at treating ED. And as a Promedic restorative health practice, we've literally seen countless thousands of relationships renewed across the nation. Plus, with treatments having success rates well over 90%, coupled with many treatment options, we can likely find the right one for you. You may even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us and give your partner the best gift you can give this season. A renewed, restored relationship. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City, now open. Dine on mouth-watering appetizers, then feast on one of our 6 American Wagyu burgers, including the Bacon Jam Burger and Blazing Burger. Wash it down with your favorite ice-cold beverage, all while watching the game on one of our 45 TVs. Dine in or carry out. Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City always hits the spot. Brew Brothers and Brew Brothers Express are now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a crash westbound 435 just past Quivira involving multiple vehicles. It is off to the shoulder, but again, seeing some slowdowns. Another 2-car crash eastbound 470 at 71 on the shoulder. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
I want to tell you guys a little bit about my life. If I'm not watching sports, so today I'll be watching Thursday Night Football. I'm very much interested in Thursday Night Football. If I'm not watching sports, I'm watching a movie for our podcast, Bad Movies, Worst Opinions, new episodes every Tuesday. Get it wherever you get your podcast from, where we basically just rewatch bad movies from the 2000s. Or I'm watching Sopranos. I have been watching Sopranos religiously for the last 3 weeks or so. I am finishing up season 3. I just started season 4 earlier today, but I came to work to play Rob in college football, and he smoked me today. So, I mean, we'll try again tomorrow. But I have come to the conclusion after, really carrying the flag for The Wire, and I still think The Wire is incredible. So this doesn't change how I feel about The Wire. The Sopranos is the better show than The Wire. And I would not have said that a month ago. I would have, hey, what's the best show? Yeah, man, always. It's The Wire. The Wire's the best. No, I don't even think it's close, honestly, between the two. I think The Sopranos is clearly the superior show between those two. And I say this as someone who has probably rewatched The Wire at least 3 times. And that's not even counting just like random clips like on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. Just like from start to finish, I'm going to watch The Wire at least 3 times. This is my second time through The Sopranos, and I can't stop watching it, Rob. It's incredible.
Every day at work, to give people a little peek behind the curtain, you are talking about about The Wire. Not The Wire, excuse me, about Sopranos.
That's the only thing going on in my life.
You and the boss every day talk about it like it was live, new, and the first time you ever seen it last night on television. It's a rewatch. Sopranos is great, but I don't think it's 1-1. I think the best show ever is still Breaking Bad. I also don't think it's The Wire. I think Breaking Bad is a perfect television show, and I wonder if the reason that you're hot to trot right now on The Sopranos is a little bit of recency bias because you're rewatching it now. Let's say it's July. We have nothing to talk about in July, and you rewatch Breaking Bad. Are you going to be like, you know what? You were right. Breaking Bad's 1-1. Is it possible a dollop of your thoughts stem from recency bias?
I'm very happy to go back and rewatch Breaking Bad to make sure at the end of this. I actually never watched the Breaking Bad movie, the El Camino, so I would like to go back and lead right into El Camino. I've never actually watched a Sopranos movie either, so I actually kind of really want to go back, and I'll watch that at the end of this. It's the characters, it's the dialogue, it's the storytelling, it's the way the show is just so cohesive, in a lot of ways. I've really, really been hooked on watching The Sopranos. So if you haven't seen it, if you like those kind of, shows, if you like Casino and Goodfellas and, Scarface, if you like those kind of shows, then you very much would be into it. But
By the
my
way,
goodness.
in that it's not as good as Sopranos. I'm not trying to say it's 1 for 1. But if you like Sopranos, you got to go do Penguin. The Penguin show of Colin Farrell is basically a mob story with a Batman backdrop, but you never get Batman. It's like a DC mob story. So it's not as good as Sopranos. And don't make it seem like I'm saying that.
It's only one season. We can't compare it to a show that has 7 seasons.
But it is a very enjoyable 10-episode watch. I think you would like it if you like The Sopranos like that.
Someone on the text line says Breaking Bad has good parts, but it was so boring. I had to power through the last 2 seasons. If you had to power through the last season of Breaking Bad, I don't know what was going on. The last season of Breaking Bad is incredible, where it is all starting to unravel and they figure out who Walter is. If you had to power through the last few episodes of Breaking Bad, I don't know what was going on, because it was good at the end. I was mad the show was over whenever Breaking Bad's a really, really good show. I will say, and I've heard someone say this before, and I got to watch it to go back and see. Breaking Bad is one of the few shows where the following season is better than the one before. It's season 1's okay, and then it just really starts to pick up and get better, and you like the characters more, and you see the character arc, and it's good. I really did enjoy the show. I don't know what I'm going to watch. Probably Breaking Bad after this. I might wait a little bit. Is Succession, is that a show?
Very good.
That I need to watch?
It's very good. It's not in that lane of Mount Rushmore, but it's probably a tier 2 quality max show. Very good.
Someone said, I hate TV minus sports. I don't watch shows. Breaking Bad is the only show I've sat and watched all the way through. I just love stories, Great stories. You can always catch me in with a good tale. All right, who's after us? Who we hand things off to?
Players only.
Players only. Shout out to Danny Hughes, man. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I have so many Carolina Panthers takes. I can't wait to share with you guys. Keep it right here on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Deion